Cut 4.
How weird was that briefing?
Really weird.
Well, then why did you have it?
Really weird.
You're the one who asked for the briefing.
How weird was that
Then why
briefing?
did you?
Really weird.
Well, then why did you have it?
Really weird.
You're the one who asked for the
So you
briefing.
want me to go all the way back to the very beginning?
How weird was that
Then why did
briefing?
you?
Really weird.
Well, then why did you have it?
Briefing
Really
Trump and his
weird.
top aides on how
You're the
the
one who
Russians
asked for the
interfered
briefing.
in our
All the way
election.
back to the
President
very
Trump.
beginning?
How weird was that
Then why
To
did you?
confirm really weird that it had no
Well, then
impact on the election.
What happened? You had it playing?
No, man.
Huh? Oh shit. Okay. What's that right
To
here?
me, because he said, if there's even a 1% chance my wife thinks that's true, that's
Go ahead.
January 27th. At a private
Holding. I was gonna say, I think we're live right now. I just got a notification on my phone.
Yeah, all right, fuck it. Just let it go.
Just let it go.
private dinner in the White House, President Trump raises the issue again.
says he may want me to investigate it to prove that it
See,
didn't
we
happen.
missed the part where he goes, how weird was that? Or that's the weirdest thing. Or you know what was
Because
really
he's-
weird?
Raises the issue again.
Says he may want me to investigate it.
It's in Moscow? You idiot. Go ahead.
January 27th.
Trump is the victim here. You're going in there, you're giving him the most salacious stuff that's in the dossier, and then you're mocking him for his response. Oh, it was surreal, I was floating above myself, looking down, saying,
That's what I wanted you to hear. You got to go back to that part where he said, where Comey's like, I'm floating outside of my body.
Trump is the victim.
Okay.
Institutes in Moscow.
Well, why did
Go back like 2 minutes.
Myself looking down.
That's
Now
it.
that's weird.
Keep going,
That's
keep going,
sick.
keep going. Go back. Go on.
Oh shit. Okay.
Let's continue. Cut 4.
This is it.
How weird was that briefing?
Really weird.
Well, then why did you have it?
Really weird.
You're the one who asked for the briefing. Then why did you do it? It's a weird briefing, ladies and gentlemen. He goes in there and tells the president-elect, look, we have this dossier. The Russians say they have tape of you with prostitutes in Moscow, and they're urinating on you, or they're urinating on the bed. Now that's weird. That's sick. And now he's saying that the meeting was weird. It was weird because of him and what he brought up. Go ahead.
How weird was that briefing?
Really weird. It was almost an out-of-body experience for me. I was floating above myself, looking down.
Oh, cut out with the drama queen crap, you idiot. I was floating above, I was looking down at myself. Go ahead.
And you're sitting here briefing the incoming president of the United States about prostitutes in Moscow.
Well, why did you do it? He didn't ask you to do it. It was a setup by the Clinton campaign and the DNC and the wash through that law firm. And then Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele onto the Russians. Trump is the victim here. You're going in there, you're giving him the most salacious stuff that's in the dossier, and then you're mocking him for his response. Oh, it was surreal, I was floating above myself, looking down, saying, you're briefing the incoming president of the United States about prostitutes in Moscow? You idiot. Go ahead.
January 27th. At a private dinner in the White House, President Trump raises the issue again.
Says he may want me to investigate it to prove that it didn't happen. And then he says something that distracted me, because he said, if there's even a 1% chance my wife thinks that's true, that's terrible.
Now let's just stop. He wants him to investigate it because he knows it's BS. And he still doesn't know the president of the United States. Now it's January 27th, where this came from. Comey knows where it came from. And so you're the president of the United States now. Weeks have passed. This still is bothering you that these allegations were made, brought to you by the FBI director. You said you need to investigate that and find out what the hell's going on. If there's a 1% chance my wife thinks that's true, it's terrible. And he finds, again, Trump's comments outrageous. Go ahead.
And I remember thinking, how could your wife think there's a 1% chance you were with prostitutes peeing on
I don't
each
know,
other?
pal, but you seem to refuse to dismiss it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm a flawed human being, but there's literally zero chance that my wife would think that was true. So what kind of marriage to what kind of man does your wife think there's only a 99% chance you didn't do that? And I said to him, sir, when he started talking about it, I may order you to investigate that. I said, sir, that's up to you, but you want to be careful about that because it might create a narrative that we're investigating you personally. And second, it's very difficult to prove something didn't happen.
So put yourself in Trump's position. What's he supposed to do? He's saying, investigate this. It's dishonest. It's not true. Oh, well, if we investigate this, people will think we're investigating you. So here you have this noxious allegation that is sitting there that Comey brought to the president-elect. It's still sitting there when he's president of the United States. And he wants it addressed because he's being wronged by somebody. And he still doesn't know that Hillary and the DNC are behind it because Comey doesn't tell him. Does this seem like normal behavior by an FBI director to you folks? Go ahead.
Did you believe his denial?
Honestly, never thought.
Who cares if he believed his denial? Who cares? You're talking to a disgruntled, former, fired FBI director. Why would you ask him such a dumbass question? Excuse me, such a dumb question. Go ahead.
It would come out of my mouth, but I don't know whether the current president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. Real schmo. No, there's more. That's enough. That's the nuts and bolts of the interview where you're supposed to stay up Sunday night at 10 p.m. and watch Jim Comey and Stephanopoulos. That's the nuts and bolts of it. They put out their best stuff. Does this entice you to watch ABC News, to jack up their ratings and their advertising sales with Jim Comey? Does this entice you to buy Jim Comey's book?
I'm going to go out and buy it.
Yeah, Comey sounds like a complete idiot the whole time.
Jackass. Totally.
CW, are you coming to defend Comey?
I think so.
I might as well. Listen, my mind has been blown by learning that Jerry Cthulhu didn't vote for Trump. You're
Why?
playing with my mind. Watching you on Twitter, I've had like 15,000 back and forths with you where I've been like obviously thinking that we were about to come to blows.
Oh, no.
Orange.
I didn't vote for Trump.
Okay.
I didn't vote for anybody.
Well, good for you. You didn't
Either
even
way, all of this is
in-
a greater mind control program.
I'm a post-partisan person.
Absolutely. There you go. But listen, that's a fine way to be, to not vote. I mean, my attitude about it is too many people are like throwing their energy behind this guy. My attitude has always been about like the degree that I participated in politics. I always knew that everybody was a fucking joke.
Yeah, don't pick sides.
Yeah. Plus, there's
Vote
a
for your
whole
punchline.
there's a whole energetic contract layer when you cast a vote for someone that goes
Without a
unseen,
doubt. Without a doubt.
and I'd rather not be entangled in that.
Nope.
That's why everyone should not be part of any group.
Mm-mm. No way.
Not
Be your
even
own
the
self.
human race. Don't even be part of that. Just kill yourself.
Nope.
That's
Nope.
entirely different.
Going ultra.
Jerry
Gone.
Cthulhu's extreme anti-natalist position.
That fucking natal period. It sucks,
That's it.
So what's going on with you, dude? How you been?
For me? Yeah, I've been doing good. I'm happy to be on the Hive.
Cheers. I stopped
should
inviting
be
you. Never showed up. So.
Well, what it was is that I stopped doing Skype for a while. My Skype went down, and I couldn't be asked to put it back on. I know I would tune in every once in a while to see what you guys were doing, but
I only ran Skype so I could talk to you.
well, a perfectly reasonable reason to run Skype.
No,
I'm not getting you're not gonna get any argument from me to say that that's unreasonable.
no, I'm kidding. My last job, everyone used Skype. So
Yeah,
this job's all Slack.
that's it. I want to promote this broadcast on my channel. I don't know how the best way to do it is.
Your new conspiracy news roundup.
Whatever. I mean, I did 2 shows where I gave them a similar title to see if that had any rationale behind it. We're always trying to figure out the algorithms.
I think it's great.
Yeah, well, no, listen, I've been getting a lot of satisfaction out of it. I've been feeling like I've been doing a lot of good work lately. But let me do one of these. I'm going to shoot a promo as we speak. Check me out. I'm on Jerry Cthulhu's channel, The Hive. It's the place to be tonight, Saturday night. Check it out. Check it out. Go over there.
Fuck yeah.
I put a link in this link below, but I'm doing this guerrilla style. So just Jerry Cthulhu, find them. The Hive. We're there. We're doing it. Catch you later. I'm going to shoot a promo as we speak. That's it. The guerrilla marketing at its best. It's an Andy Warhol mimetic nightmare. It's mirrors on mirrors on mirrors.
There's a link. You can put it in the description of your Bye, Graham.
Oh, beautiful. There you go. Okay, here we go.
Graham's like, who's that? I'm out of here.
No, you know what? It's Grimsteak is here, right? And there's actually a video that I made where I'm like, Grimsteak. I never knew who the guy was. I just knew that you were doing shit with him, and it was at my like absolute egomaniac worst. I was like, who's this guy Grimsteak that Jerry's with? I'm literally like having an acoustic guitar warrior style. I'm like, Grimsteak, show yourself, bitch. Who the fuck are you? You know, I'm like out of nowhere, and then like at moments of like revelation, I would get all pissed off whenever he would tweet. He'd be like, I've got a podcast. I'm like, fuck you, podcast competitor, asshole who I've never met,
competitor,
who's done nothing to me.
You don't even have a podcast.
Well, what's a podcast? It's like all this language. It's like everything that, and now the greatest thing is that now that everybody does this Streamlab bullshit, it's like simultaneously you're on YouTube, Facebook, Spreaker, all these
you can't
things.
Spread yourself thin enough, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. You know what I mean?
A podcast is a semi-regular show that interviews people of a certain type. Has an RSS feed that goes out to iTunes, basically. That's what a podcast is.
No, it's all professional. Like, I mean, you know, who am I going to begrudge him for being professional? The other thing is, what's the deal with Walter Bosley? Walter Bosley, I've been like, yo, come on, let me talk to you. And he's like, okay, yeah, right, no, never. And then Grimsteak is like, hi, I have 2 subscribers. Walter Bosley's like, I'm there.
Did he come on your show?
No, I've never had Bosley on my show.
You never? No. Who's the other guy? Who's
Me,
this?
I had him on.
Who? You had him on?
On Nox Mente, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's never been on my show.
Wasn't he on like
he's on Grimerica.
What's the difference?
He was on ours.
There's a huge
so who's Cruz and who's Steak? I thought it was the same guy.
Let me explain. Let me mansplain it to you. Grimsteak is that guy right there. And
right here.
Okay.
There's James Cruz. So they took Cruz in. It was a play on words with Steak.
Okay.
It's James Cruz and Grimsteak. Music by Field.
Now I understand nothing.
And Graham and Darren run Grimerica. That's Graham right there.
Hey, buddy.
Okay. Hey, what's going on, man? Pleased to meet you.
You know Grimerica,
Go
right?
Fuck yourself. No, I know because I see them on Twitter and I'm like, Walter Bosley, this thing, that thing. I'm like,
they have one of the longest running, best alternative podcasts out there. It's better than Joe Rogan.
Good. Well, listen, good for them, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, buddy.
You know that. You know I feel that way.
No, I know. I appreciate it. It's fun.
Anytime.
One of these days, I'll get over myself and just tune in. I have to do so much work on myself. I have to be to work on being a better person. I have to do things like learn to watch another person's broadcast without screaming. I'm joking. I'm getting better.
Is that why you're watching that Rose New Blueprint chick? That's good therapy. Trying to watch. Oh, listen,
I'm watching Rose New. Yeah, I watched Rose New Blueprint because that's some of the greatest stuff. It's the same reason I watch Jay Essex. It's like living art. You know what I mean? It's absolutely a living tableau of, absolute pure humanity.
I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. Yes,
I do a pretty good Rose New Blueprint, though. You want to see my Rose New Blueprint invitation?
I definitely want to see it.
Hey guys. So I was watching a Simon Parkes interview. It might have been from a while ago, or it might have been from yesterday. I don't know anymore. I don't know. But I was thinking that there's all these accusations and all these people saying things. And I'm like wondering, well, what if just like half of them are true? Like, what if like half of them are true? And it's like, that's the thing about like Max Spears. It's like, if half of what he says is true, then he was just so important. He was just such an amazing guy. And, and I really think about it all the time. I'm here with my mother and we're wondering, and I'm watching, and I'm going, okay. If Simon Parkes is the son of Anu, right? And Anu, but like, it doesn't even make sense because like Anu was this horrible guy, right? Anu was this horrible guy. Maybe he wasn't that so horrible. Maybe I'm seeing it through like my eyes, but no, he had slaves. And so like, that's like the whole thing. Why all things are fucked up with the Rh negative blood now. That's why things are so fucked up now. So Simon is the son of Anu and Anu's a bad guy, but I don't get it. But maybe it's something I don't get.
Thinking so much.
That's it.
I love you.
It's very nice.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
CW, you should.
Muted. I've been.
You have been, and you promised not to be drunk tonight.
I'm not.
Excellent.
And I have to learn to mute too, so that other people can talk as well.
That's okay. No, I was going to say you should listen to the interview that.
I love you, and you don't even know who I am.
I know who you are. You're Vanessa. You're VC, right?
Yes.
Didn't I see you in the chat below? I know you. I know your history.
Do you know who I am on Twitter?
You don't know me.
Do I know who you are on Twitter? I don't know who you are on Twitter.
Beta Gray 0708.
Are we
nobody knows
following each other?
Usernames.
Yes, we are.
Do you tweet? Are you like active?
She's prolific.
Yes.
Are you active? I don't know, so wait, what is it again? What's the Twitter handle?
Beta Gray 0708.
Okay, I'll look for it next time. I'll be like, "What's up, Vanessa?"
We're following each other, man.
I know, but I never see like.
You like
I don't know.
tweets
I don't know
day.
how I don't know how the algorithm works. If they do the same thing, they.
No. That's not her. That's her username. It's not her name.
So what's your name? Like, what would I see when I see like the big black letters?
My name is Vanessa.
No, it's Vacay Planet Earth.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, totally. Absolutely. Hey, what's going on, girl? What's up? Absolutely.
And Jerry.
Yeah, baby.
Hi.
Holy buzz. So CW, I just want to say, check out the interview that Prison with Steak did with Dr. Rita Louise. It's all about the Anunnaki. Yeah. It was a really good interview.
And what's so funny is that I saw her because she did an interview maybe a year or two ago with yada 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 Alfred Lambermont Weber, if I'm not mistaken.
How long did it take him to ask a question?
Well, if I already did my Rose New Blueprint, I could also give you my Alfred Lambermont Weber. I am so happy to be here with Jerry Cthulhu, an absolutely amazing soul. You're a soul. That's just the easiest way to say it. He's an amazing soul, and he's doing amazing work.
Fucking amazing. I love him.
What's not to love? Hey, listen. There you go.
And there's lots of me to go around.
Oh, there's lots
of. He's rubbing his chest like. Ah.
I was rubbing my nipples.
It's a normal human reaction to praise.
Shirt. Jerry, let me see that shirt. Jerry, let me see that shirt.
See?
I can't.
Well, that's too bad. I'll find a picture of it for you.
Now, what we should do is I see that Lee Veltman is in the chat, and he even has a wrench.
Everybody gets wrenches after a second visit.
There you go.
Keeps things.
Now here's my Don King moment of the night. I don't care where it happens. I don't care what channel it happens on. I don't care if it's here on the Hive. I don't care if it's on Cruising with Steak. I don't care if it's Grambo in America or whatever. Lee Veltman versus Brandon Young. Throwing it out there.
Brandon Young is a shit.
I take Brandon.
Oh, I think those guys need to work it out. Work it out in the hive. Work it out in the square circle.
Oh,
Where's Brandon at? Get Brandon.
I don't know.
I don't know where Brandon's at.
Well, listen. Oh shoot! You just gave me the link. I'll friggin' tweet it too and be like,
Get
yo,
No, do not tweet the link. Oh yeah,
not the link to this. The link that you just sent me, right?
Yeah.
Let me just compose my tweet here.
See everybody. What's going on? I'm going to fuck with my shit for a minute. I see Chanter right now. Am I supposed to be able to
press the gallery view
and be able to see other people?
I don't know. We don't know how to use your shit. Easy spaz.
I knocked over. Look,
you're still drunk, aren't you? We know it.
See my candles?
Oh, I know she's drunk because now that I'm 64 days sober, the minute anyone is even slightly buzzed, I'm like, they are wasted. They are wasted.
Dude, but you don't understand. Like,
no, we don't understand.
Second night being, I'm only a little bit buzzed. Come on.
Listen, I respect you if you're only a little bit buzzed. I mean, not that you can be as buzzed or as wasted as you want to be.
It's all Grim's fault.
Congratulations, buddy. 64.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Graham's going on
moving along
3 years or 5 years or something.
Get out of town. No, that's beautiful.
10.
Okay, beautiful. But no, Vanessa, just no one understand that I'm totally joking. Like, people can. My attitude about it is, what's right and wrong for me is not right and wrong for anybody else. So you do you. And if you're having a good time on a Saturday night, God bless you. God bless you. I wish I could, but unfortunately, I'm one of those guys. If I have a good time on Saturday night, come Sunday morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll be trying to figure out how to sober up before my kids wake up.
Dude, my kids wake up at like 5:30.
Then you are not going to be a happy. Oh, I don't know what time zone you're in, so I don't know if that's
Eastern. She's North Carolina.
Dude,
you're East.
I have 2 shots of alcohol.
You are drunk.
Vanessa, you're drunk. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yes, because I don't drink ever.
Except last night and tonight.
First time.
Last night I was posted.
I know.
Well, it was 420, so you know what I mean.
Grim kept going. Things are going off the rails. What were you saying? It was funny.
Yeah, I left that all in the intro too, because she started spiraling.
Why can I only see you now?
Because you're on speaker view. You got to change to gallery view, and you got to figure out how to do that on your device.
Okay, bye. I'm not bye.
That's it. You might as well. You never know. It might be. We'll get you back.
There was a promise about not being drunk. Anyway.
But the great thing is, if when you're the one girl in the room, whatever promise you made that you broke, I don't think it's going to get you kicked off.
No, I'm not going to kick her off. I want Beautiful. Suzanne. Suzanne was supposed to be here, but she's MIA. She loves.
I see Rock.
She's the Nephilim representative. So.
Okay.
The RH negative.
I would love to see her again. It's been a while since me and her got a chance to rap.
Yeah, I don't know where she's at. Suzanne. I don't even think I have her phone number. I don't think she has a cell phone anymore. She went.
It finally broke?
No, I don't know.
It's on its last crack. I mean, that's what I remember.
I think she stopped paying the bill.
That'll do it.
No, I don't have her. I don't even have it. Oh, well, she's missing it. So what else is going on?
Nothing. You know what I mean? I will say this. I know I kind of, to beat a dead horse, I know I was talking about before, but it's funny, Jerry. You'll be very proud of yourself and very happy. So I saw it 9 o'clock. I decided that I wanted to get back on the Hive like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I knew I wanted to come back and do it again. I even was planning a live chat on my channel, and I specifically do it on Friday because I knew that they were going to they're rebooting the Psychic Vampires.
Yeah.
Michael Omnieros, I guess he's Tyler Durkowitz now. You know what I mean? Is rebooting the Hive, rebooting Psychic Vampires. So I specifically said, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything Friday." Meanwhile, they did the Psychic Vampires podcast at like 4:00 in the afternoon, so it could have totally happened. And then I specifically said that I wasn't going to do it on Saturday because I didn't want to kick the Hive.
All good.
So there you go. So anyway, so check this out. So you'll see. So the minute I see it's 9:00 and I'm like, okay, I'll just send Jerry a tweet saying, hey, get me on the Hive. I immediately started sweating it. Like I wasn't going to get on or I was going to get bumped. I was like honestly treating this like Johnny Carson. I was like pacing backstage. My wife couldn't even talk to me. She'd be like, can you turn the kids' TV down? I'm like, shut up. I was like refreshing Twitter.
It's like me on a plane. It's like me on a plane.
No. Like I hit you up on Skype, and then I hit you up again on Skype, and then I hit you up on Twitter. Like, yeah, check your Skype.
I saw it. Now here's the weird part.
Straight up sweating it.
I think it was at about 8:30. No shit. I thought that I should invite you.
Uh-oh. Synchronicities abound.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of town.
And I'm thinking, no, I don't have my Skype loaded up, and I would load it when I came back to my computer. And I did, and I saw your thing, and I saw you in chat.
There you go. No, hey, look, that's woo. I also know that we had a synchronicity moment where I was at the fucking Polynesian, and you were like, I had a strange experience at the Polynesian. And I was like, when I said I was at the dinner table next to the Easter Island head and in the Hawaiian shirt, and you're like, it'd be really weird if he was at like the Polynesian, and I was like, what? And it was another moment of my wife looking at me, looking at my phone. There's certain moments when she just looks at me. I look at my phone and she's like, put the phone down. And then there's certain times when she knows it's like a lost cause where I'm like, Omnia said something like back in the day or whatever, where I'm like, no, I got to handle this. No, the point of the matter is I said, fuck you second. You were the guy who called me a douchebag first.
Right.
All over whatever. But I was like, no, I have to. That was crazy. Yeah, synchronicities abound.
Well, that was during our synchro. That was the week leading up to our synchro hive. Every 7 hives, every 7 hives, we do a synchro night. That's got a long history, but everyone has synchros up to that day. It's really crazy.
Right. Oh, it's weird. And what's so crazy is that when I saw that there was that synchro and I knew you were going to do a hive, I was going to try and get on that one too, but I don't think I was back in town yet or something, or I was going to be on the road.
We were traveling that day, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's all good. We'll have one on 6 more weeks.
There you go. I'll be like, I shot a guy.
Happened with 7 bullets.
Hey, what are you gonna do? It was day 67. It was the wrong day.
I had nothing.
So
to
what do you
talk
get
about
to this DNC lawsuit going on against Trump, WikiLeaks, Russia, just the world? DNC because Hillary lost. It's pretty much what I'm
understanding. It's like more shit on the pile. It's just obfuscating the actual problem.
Well, I don't know enough about the actual lawsuit because I kind of reached a point of kind of burnout, even on the side that, look, it is what it is. Like, I hate Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I despise her, but I despise Trump. So I'm kind of in this weird place where, most people will interpret my social media outburst as assuming that I'm like, with her or whatever, and I'm not. But what I think is that all these people who are acting like where there's smoke, it's like, look, where there's smoke, sometimes there's no fire. You know what I mean? And there are things like false flags, and the mainstream media can always play their games. They're not fair players. It's like Game of Thrones. Everyone's got an agenda. Having said that, Donald Trump is a piece of flaming garbage. And I absolutely believe that the Mueller investigation is going to produce so many pieces of stuff that it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see all these people who are like, he's just anointed by Jesus and he's the second coming and he's going to wipe up the cabal.
So
I think it's going to be interesting.
That's not going to happen.
Don't forget 5D chess.
Well, that's the thing about it's like, what I think about when I think about some of these people, and I'm not talking for anybody in the room and I'm not talking for everybody who supports Trump. Sure. But I'm talking about the people out here like the Destroy the Illusions, the Jordan Sathers, or the William Mounts, this whole 4D chess thing. It's like, it's like you ever meet those gals who like their husband like cheats on them left, right, and center? They're abused, they're smacked around, and no matter what you say, no matter what you do, they're like, I love him. He's a good man. You don't know him like I know him. And this notion that he's playing 4D chess, like now, if you look at it now, this is what I call Jordan Sather out on. If you look at it now, they're literally saying that it would be totally permissible and awesome if he was committing false flags. They're like, Syria, what you need to understand is that Syria, and this is literally what Jordan Sather said, it would make total sense if Syria was Assad, Trump, and Putin acting in concert. And I'm like, okay, well, number one, you just admitted that there was a likelihood that Trump and Putin were acting in concert with each other. Number two, that's the definition of the cabal, right? People that you think are separate state actors, all actually acting in concert with each other. Number three, that's the definition of a false flag, that they're telling the American people that they're doing the bombing in Syria for one reason when they're actually doing it for another. I said, you know what I mean? I said, you're literally saying that it's permissible for everything that you used to say was evil and bad about the cabal and the Illuminati and false flags, you're now endorsing because it's your guy. And I go, that's the ultimate like brainwashing. And literally, first of all, I think the primary motivation for all the people that are backing Trump, the way the hardcore backers of Trump, not speaking for everybody, everybody's an individual, but a lot of people, it's just raw, pure anger. Do you know what I mean? The doctors and the progressives and the university kids and the lawyers they're all standing on my neck, and this guy's going to finally do something. It's like the same thing with like immigration. I go, why do you think, like, if you think that governments are colluding to do things on purpose and nothing happens for an accident, then you got to know that the presence of unbound immigrants in America was no accident either. You know what I mean? It's a perfect trigger. They're taking your jobs. Who let them in here? And then all of a sudden we got to build a wall. And that's the other thing about building a wall. Walls can keep people out. They can also keep people in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for the cabal that you're mentioning, though, it just doesn't seem as bad because it's against the globalists, or it's supposed to be against the globalists. So it's like
But Trump's a globalist too.
Yeah, totally. But it just doesn't seem like that because we've been under the thumb. Of this other fucking cabal for so long.
I think he's
you could even say that it's all a distraction.
Oh, don't go there.
I mean, it is though.
It is, and it isn't. It is, but we need to keep track of it.
But dude, you know who did back off of Trump the second he bombed in Syria? Was Alex Jones.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Jump ship so fast.
I loved it.
Oh, that meltdown?
Oh, it was perfect.
And his meltdown, fuck Trump, he's just screaming, going off. Like, that was awesome.
That was
or how about...
How do we know that any of that...
That's the other thing.
True.
Right. How do we know they actually... We don't.
Right? We don't.
What if it's a complete show?
First of all, there's been enough reports that it was a white helmet operation again. And
everything.
At least this one's being pushed by Roger Waters. But I think perhaps the response might have even been fake.
Who wrote The Wall? Hello?
Roger Waters?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I just fucking listened to the whole Wall from beginning to end the other day.
We are through the looking glass and hit the wall.
Wait. Vanessa, what are you yelling about? Look, you can't be doing that. What?
Yeah, it's fake. But Roger Waters said, supposedly, that none of that shit even happened.
I know. I just said that. He said the white helmets
CW,
did
when you talked about the anger, was that for Trump supporters or the Trump people against him?
Well, I think. I mean, like, look. Here's what I say. What allows people who are ostensibly, and I'm talking about the base, right? The base of the Republican Party, good old-fashioned white Republican evangelicals. What allows these people to look at this guy who's a moneyed millionaire, who ran things like Miss Teen USA and Miss Teen Galaxy contests,
bullshit,
who's on the record doing all these nasty things, grab him by the pussy? How is it that they can look past all of that, and say he's like us? And here's the thing, and it really comes down to what was he working hard? It's like It's like Adolf Hitler. You've got problems. I know what caused the problems. You know what caused the problems. It's that those other people. It's those Mexicans. It's MS-13. They're raping your daughters. They're killing everybody out here. We need to build a wall.
You have to think of all the just free publicity he had for just like all those people who voted for him probably sat there and watched all 12 seasons of The Apprentice or whatever. Like they already saw him as this figurehead of power. Like he's
Dude,
this host
it's
of firing
complete
people all the
bullshit. The
time.
president of the United States, Trump.
Yeah, wake up and smell the Running Man. It's like we're in a fucking movie. If you know that there's like Roger Corman movies from 1984, like not even ones that even got into the theater, like straight up, like straight to VHS.
I have a serious question.
Do you?
Who the fuck is going to be the next president? Is it going to be a woman?
No.
Now here's the thing.
Be another 4 years.
Trump's going to
Here's the thing. Well, no, listen, I don't know if that, well, I would say that I don't know if that's true, but then again, if you were to ask me before the election when Trump did get elected, if he was going to get elected, I'd be like, whatever. You know what I mean? I would have been like, there's no way it's going to happen either. So, but here's the deal. Here's really the deal. Once a line is crossed, once a bar goes down a notch, it really goes down a notch. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so like now that Trump has been elected under the way that he was, like, don't forget, like, they could totally be like, we could be like 3 years away from people being like, let's vote for Justin Bieber. No offense. Think about this. Think about this.
That'll never happen.
Well, you'd say that would never happen, but think about it this way: if it came down to a pure popularity contest, like what if Kanye West? What about Oprah?
Oh, Kanye West.
I'd vote for Kanye.
I would leave this country. I swear.
That's what everybody says, but you know what? The fact of the matter is, when we get to that point, you can't leave the country because the entire system is falling apart. You wouldn't dare get on an airplane because they're falling out of the sky because everybody's flying. You know what I mean?
They're trying to make it illegal to, you can't. You'll be able. Yeah, you'll need your real ID to cross state lines eventually.
And what's your real ID? It used to be, I could show you my driver's license. Now they want to see your driver's license and a passport. No,
it's actually it's a government ID. It's that RFID chip, but it's in a card.
The other thing too is Trump was a potential candidate for president a long time ago.
He always has been.
And that's completely different than someone like Oprah or Justin Bieber.
Well, it's like, how many times do you need to run before people become accepting of it?
Wait,
the thing is, people wanted him to run a long time ago, like back in the 80s.
Do you think if Arnold Schwarzenegger was allowed to run for president, he would win?
He might.
He's also proven himself as a governor in some way.
Maybe his first year as governor.
Maybe. The thing that he could do is that he strikes this perfect balance, because he'd be like, I am a crazy person that you would vote for. I am a Republican, but at the same time, I've got liberal attitudes. Both the homosexuals
and the turn on the air, and I know how to goose step.
Well, you know what? Remember, he won that governorship in California when the opposition were like, here are actual photos of him smoking weed, giving the Heil Hitler.
Right.
And he was like, and look, in his defense, he was like, look, in Germany, we were young. Everyone did it.
He's Austrian.
Pumping iron. Or Austrian, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I know. I remember they tried to discredit him for being a druggie. But he did way worse shit than that, I'm sure. He had like all kinds of orgies going on. And
hey,
I remember hearing some of that stuff.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. But in California, to bring forward, he was smoking pot, everyone's going to go like, yeah.
Exactly.
It's legal here.
We'll vote for him. Yeah, exactly.
And then?
He won.
He won, but didn't he?
Exactly.
No, Lee's saying that Tom Cruise will be next president. I disagree. I think George Clooney's getting groomed for it. He's been doing all this international shit with the CFR.
Dude, right.
Clooney's a spook, man. He's total CIA.
Yeah, well, him and Obama came up together, maybe.
Well, they did in the secret space program on Mars in the jump rooms with Andrew Basiago.
They totally did, 100%.
don't get me started on
No, listen, dude, it's the greatest the amount of times that I get like angry comments in my thing where they're like, honestly, you think you could run against Andrew Basiago? He won an alternative timeline. They say it with like such emphasis that it's like not a joke. They're like, actually, he did win. You know what I mean? There's photos of him with Lincoln, asshole. You know what I mean?
No, there aren't.
No, I know. It's like, hey, meanwhile, people are willing to accept those things as being factually accurate. Then I make like a very salient, logical, step-by-step approach to why, Jordan Sather and Corey Good have just absolutely endorsed cabal Illuminati spook tactics. And people are like, you're a hater. Jackass. You just don't like him because he's waking people up.
Yeah,
Shell.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Did you happen to catch Miles Johnston thing today with John Lear?
No, I saw it. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Okay, that dude needs to take more naps for one. Yeah, but it was pretty interesting. He was talking about how the moon. I know it's crazy. Just saying. What Lear was saying is that the moon is habitated. What's the word?
Dude, something's up with the moon.
He said 2 million people live there. That there's like cities there and shit. And there's a hologram that projects in front of it. It looks like the real moon, what we see.
Right? Why not?
I can believe that 100%.
Jerry.
What?
Jerry.
Believe anything you want 100%. You know what I mean? Jerry. I'm your mom.
Wait. And
possible.
That's why
it's highly possible.
That's why they had to fake the moon landing, because all that shit's there. There's no moon to land on. It's all cities and stuff. People live there.
Right. But how about this? It's like if what would be the objective? What would be the rationale behind hiding that? Well, we would all be like awesome and stoked that people lived on the moon.
Because those people are probably our controllers.
Oh, those people, right?
I wonder if that's what your lasers are showing there, Jared, that point to the moon there. They're the ones creating the hologram.
I don't know. But that would definitely explain what the lunar wave is.
In the comment section, check out this comment by Rock Shamoose. This is interesting. Has Ain sent anyone else an email stating that he has been handed the control of the leak project and that the leak project is massively going under for lots of negative reasons? Alleged.
No.
That's crazy. I want to take this opportunity to say hi to Rock Shamoose.
That's absolute nonsense.
But I know that.
Yeah,
I know for a fact.
40 planets there's 40 planets in our solar system right now. That's what John Lear said.
How the fuck do you know any of this shit?
I don't. I'm just telling you what he said. I think it's
right.
Fantasy world, but whatever.
What are we looking at when we look at Celine? What are we looking at?
Who?
The moon?
Yeah.
I think the moon's the moon. I mean, that's my attitude about it. You know.
What are we looking at? What is it?
It's a moon. It's a rock.
A rock in space, allegedly.
Okay, that's what you've been taught. What is it? What is it? What does it make you feel like?
Oh, I think when I look at the moon, I think it's an amazing celestial object. And when I think of the moon, what really trips me out is the notion of it as being a worshipable and venerable goddess energy. Do you know what I mean? And so I'll get like, so today I was walking home and I saw the moon was up in the sky and I took a moment to give it a shout out and to say,
I give it the finger.
You need to do it before sunrise.
I catch it sometimes before. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's interesting. Please do.
Before sunrise, do a hymn for Celine.
Or her.
I'll take. Or her, yeah.
Watch the synchronicities.
Check this out. Speaking of synchronicities, I know for a fact that Anthropos has had video interviews on his channel that are like fake video interviews where he literally will chop up other people's interviews and he'll be like, what? No way. And the person will cut to the person being like, Barack Obama being like, I believe we should go to the moon. And he's like, what? The moon? Really? We should go there? Yes. It's
Dude,
crazy.
It's so retarded. We went to the moon like 40 decades ago and we can't go now.
Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, going on. Meanwhile,
but we sent a car into.
So what? The other thing that John Lear was saying is that that the the rockets they send up are cover for the real engines and shit that's going on in like the secret space program. So he's all about the secret space program, but melding it with the moon landing and NASA, and then he was bitching about Nazis, and then he started going off about how that certain event where a bunch of people were killed was not really what happened. And then Miles is like, oh my God, don't even go there. And he starts going on about, the Jews. Dude, it was really funny.
After Max died, I stopped watching Miles.
Well, the great thing about Miles Johnson is that you could tell he's a guy that as he's doing the things that he's doing, it's like he's having literal moral conflicts. He's been up there so many times we like try like on the borderline, not knowing whether to tease out more of the story or to try and back away from it. Dude, he'll be like,
Panther. I remember like Payback when you were on fucking Miles. Or you guys were arguing or some stupid
He was never
bullshit.
on Miles Johnson.
I wish I was on Miles Johnson, man. Vanessa,
she was on Christine.
You might not be drunk tonight, but we know you were dropping acid one other week because I was never on Miles Johnson. Yes, listening.
In the YouTube comments.
Oh, that's entirely possible. That's entirely possible.
You were on Christine Hart's show.
Meanwhile, I did another show with Christine Hart that she hasn't aired, and I think she totally hasn't aired it because I was like,
I read about it.
Could you please not say these nasty things about people that don't deserve to be besmirched in this way?
Like Michael Aquino?
Well, Michael Aquino, and I was also like telling her, like, please relax. Like she was like, they put me in a cage and they do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, if you're going to engage in that mythology, that's what's going to be happening to you. But if you choose to think about other things and do other things, then that won't be the case.
What's up with that lady? Is she just like?
Well, basically what
I liked her for a little, and then like all of a sudden after Max died, it got weird.
Well, you know what happened?
We don't know that Max died, guys. We don't know that he died.
Somebody tell me.
Oh yeah, we do.
What happened to Max?
They buried him. There's a body in the ground.
You seen the grave?
But yeah, the grave has been on. The grave was on that.
Because he was a drug addict, or did he die because he was murdered?
I don't know.
He died, but I believe that he died because of an accidental drug overdose.
As far as we know,
he ate too much black goo. He ate too much.
Honestly, those guys, look, wait. As far as we know, he could just be an actor playing a role.
Right.
Well, look, but Jerry, if you adopt that level of skepticism, I could be a CIA spook playing with everybody's mind right here.
I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it. If I've heard.
How do you know?
What if it was a staged thing? I'm not saying it is.
What,
just
Cancer, if anybody were, would be you, motherfucker.
I will kick you off the show, Vanessa, if you keep doing this.
Uh-oh.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Timeout. Someone's in a timeout.
I forgot.
Someone's in a timeout.
Finish. I'm done.
He's not. I love this. Jerry's like the dad who's like the nice dad, and then just flips on. You catch one across the jaw.
My handler. I swear he is.
He's doing a terrible, terrible job.
Right.
He's like the bad news bears of handlers. I may be a CIA spook, but it's like the Spies Like Us version of conspiracy theory.
Looks at me from the background like, shut the fuck.
Lee, what do you mean he was passed on?
I don't think I had those eyes at all.
Yes, you do.
Grim looks pretty peaceful, I would say.
Thank you,
back, y'all. I can handle. I'm annoying. I'll be right back.
Everybody's hey, all right, now we got a show.
I thought she was naked.
For one brief shiny moment, we were all like, yes. There you go. Now we're all speechless. And it was so funny as I was just about to make a joke about everything important that everybody has to say now, with the distractions not in the room, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? We were like, what? Just everyone frantically at home trying to get the rewind to that exact point.
There could be an accident Anyway.
Either way, clearly there's something much more to being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay. So my point about saying that what we don't know he's dead is that we don't really know if he's dead. And there was a lot of rumors flying around about Miles being the stage, bringing these guys in and tell a certain story. So it might have been staged in that way. Not that it's more widespread than that, but I never believed that. I've just heard that. Right. I always raised the case in my head is we don't know that Max died. We don't.
Well, no, listen, I mean, if you want to talk about things that we heard that Max Spears used to fight amazing astral battles with Nazi zombies beyond the, beyond the third dimension.
Right.
Yeah, whoever. But I mean, what's more likely than not? Here's my attitude about it. These people don't have the capital. They don't have the raw capital to stage these massive events. It's so much easier to understand that these literally we're watching people basically LARPing, even though they might be LARPing in their own heads and with all sincerity. You know what I mean?
Because that's exactly what's happening.
And here's the other thing. And then here's the other side of it is that if you look at the numbers that are produced by this small little conspiracy theory world, like we get all up in arms. We think of like, who are the biggest things out there? The Basis Project, the Project Camelot. Those guys don't even have silver play buttons. You know what I mean?
No, right. I know.
In the world of YouTube, like it's not like they would be like. So, what would be the value of putting big government capital behind trying to confuse or fool these people when you could just confuse or fool them with an AI bot on Facebook? You know what I mean?
I don't know. It begs the question: why would there be any of that going on if it's such a small
also,
group of
now
people?
you can use an AI bot.
There's been AI bots on YouTube for more than 10 years.
You could say that this whole thing started a while ago.
It did.
Maybe an evolution of MK Ultra.
I like those tree frogs and crickets going on.
Nice.
Right? Aren't they beautiful?
It's a beautiful ambience.
Gotta love nature.
But anyway, my point was, CW, with such a small overall audience, so say 2 million people at the most, who are like hardcore group people who I would say the audience there, why even fund any kind of disinfo campaign there?
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
There must be some reach if it's going on. Otherwise, it's not going on at all.
Well, you got to do it at all levels if you're going to do it. I mean, they probably do it just to control the message.
But that,
even if it's smaller levels, I mean, it's probably there's thousands of people probably doing it, hired by them to fucking do it. I mean,
and this is what John Lear was saying today, which just makes you think. It's kind of goofy, but their whole thing is they will tell you anything, any kind of lie, to not have to admit that the shit's real, the UFOs are real. Like he was saying, the Cold War was just, another lie. All the countries are working together behind the scenes, are all buddy. All the conflicts are war. The fighting in Syria is over a Stargate or some bullshit like that. It's like, these are all just, alternate storylines to the mainstream media storyline. They have equal viability to me.
Right. Well, I mean, look, go back to Rock in the checks. It says Ain said that Miles Johnson personally authorized them to start Basis Texas because the Basis Project proper is going down, going offline, dying, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I believe that because Miles Johnson has not been able to contain his anger over the fact that he's been demonetized and he's going down. And I think a lot of these people do the same thing with Kerry Cassidy at Project Camelot. I think that the circus has left town. Meanwhile, there's other guys
in one basket,
Exactly. Well, I mean, but that's the thing. So these guys were willing to interview people and say, "Oh, you have to interview all these people because there could be one kernel of truth in there." That's not a great way to do journalism. Sifting through just people's everyday stories. You know what I mean?
Or at least don't subject us to it.
Right.
Clip out the good parts. Don't make us listen to William Tompkins go for 3 hours about the Mars atmosphere is great. Anyway.
And she was so sexy.
I know. All I can think of is this guy's got a helmet on with the jerk-off tape running nonstop. Remember that from Brainstorm?
Right. Meanwhile, listen, they talk about, like, why would he come forward now? This is a guy that I think totally knew that his time was coming. I think he knew that he had like a year, 2 years tops, and was just like, fuck it. I'm going out in a blaze of glory. They're not going to remember me as the douchebag that they made fun of for building, making those hobby, planes and model planes. I'm going to get myself in the books. And he did. Now he's part of history. Now he's in the literature, right? Him and his toupee. You know what I mean?
I do.
Him and his toupee. God bless him. And Richard Dolan's on the sideline getting ready to slit his wrists because no matter what they say, there's no way that the legitimate guys are getting away from the bad guys. Even Stanton Friedman. Look at Stanton Friedman. Proved without a shadow of a doubt, has a book this thick that shows why 90% of what people say about Area 51 is bunko.
Mm-hmm.
Has a book this thick proving that 90% of everything that Bob Lazar, totally debunked Bob Lazar. And then Stan Friedman, year after year after writing those books, had to get up on stage after stage where people were like, yeah, Bob Lazar said, yeah. Bob Lazar said, he was just there like, I've got a degree in nuclear physics. I met the guy that did Majestic 12. You cocksuckers. No matter what you do.
I know.
It's
like
you know what I mean?
His bane it's his anchor to carry for life is albatross.
Absolutely. It's like it's like a great tragedy.
John Lear also brought up Area 51. He also brought up Bob Lazar.
Of course. Well, he's the guy who started Bob Lazar.
I know. But he went and told the whole story. It was basically a tribute to Art Bell, but John Lear started talking about his life instead. He thought it was a tribute to him, maybe.
Well, the other thing you have to remember about John Lear is that every year that we interview him now, he gets a little bit more loopy because God bless the guy, he's getting old. He's like in his 90s at this point.
Gotta be that.
Or at least his 80s. So he's not making a whole lot of sense. I mean, you saw he did an interview 2 years ago with Kerry Cassidy, went out and visited him, and he was barely making sense then. But then he got into a fight with Douglas Dietrich a year later. That was the latest thing that they heard from him, and then he kind of disappeared.
Somebody resurrected him.
They did. Well, Miles Johnson, who's like, hey, who Miles Johnson?
I think it was Rex Bear.
Oh God, Rex Bear. The other guy who I don't think that these guys are COINTELPRO. I think the Leak Project is a totally manufactured thing. I think that is just bot city with those subscriber numbers. I just think it's bot city because it came out of nowhere, and had 40,000 subscribers.
What kind of drugs is Rex on?
Some good drugs. Well, and then here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about him possibly being a total like sham organization. There's no one like Mars Attacks was a semi-decent movie, right? But if you look at Rex Bears' background, it's literally like he was like, I want to start a project that exploits and monetizes this whole conspiracy theory world. Okay, and then literally went down to Planet Hollywood and was like, give me all your Mars Attack stuff. You know what I mean? Went on to eBay and was like, buy it now.
My business plan is to make 6 videos a day, and the first 10 minutes of each one will be talking about my sponsor.
And that's it. Well, he's another guy who like ran out of people to interview. So like I knew that he was hitting the skids where it started about maybe like 2 years ago, where in addition to his regular videos with all the same guys that get interviewed on Higher Side Chat, the same guy that gets interviewed on Dark Journalists, the same guy that gets interviewed over here, he was doing things like the Emerald Tablets. Like it was just him by himself. Like here's something else I saw interesting online, and it was like reading a Wikipedia article about like Tres Magisteris or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, Joe's in chat. Joe, you should come on. We need to get Joe on here.
Dude, Rex.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, Rex is
on his Skype.
Fucked up drugs. I don't know if it's Vassal or what the fuck he's doing.
I've never even heard of Vassal, girl. You just named a drug. I don't know. Bath salts.
What is Vassal? I'm all over this.
I got excited. I was like, damn it, quit too soon. There's something new. Get the fuck out of here.
Rex, honestly,
you think so? He seems very put together to me, but I haven't tuned in for a while.
Go back like 11 months.
I just can't get past the bad pronunciation.
Now,
well, I love the fact that he's like he obviously like studied broadcasting in school. You know what I mean? Like he's got that radio voice. Like, hi, I'm Rex Bear.
He does. He's fucking government op.
Who the fuck knows? You know what I mean?
Who knows anything?
Joe's going to join us.
What if Jerry Cthulhu's a hologram? I'm just saying, it's entirely possible.
According to Kent Dunn and Dr. Sam Muggsy and Drake Bailey, your favorite and mine, we are all hard holograms. You know,
government agent.
They're not even. Well, here I was just making this joke to somebody on Twitter. It's like it's amazing talking about Kent Dunn and Drake Bailey that the Galactics, the 4D Galactics, apparently have nothing better to do except hang out with like the biggest racist Southern fried, honky tonk guys in the world. There, hi, I'm Kent Dunn,
militia guys.
So here's what you need to know about the Galactics. Okay,
parody. You're talking about parody.
Oh, absolutely. And that poor gal, I'm amazed. First of all, I thought that she's got 2 shows a week that she does, one of which is called Parody, that I didn't know was her name, Parady. And then one of them is the updates with Kent Dunn.
Right.
So when she kept on advertising the Parody show, I thought that one of their shows was a parody.
So did I.
It was a joke. Like he'd be like, I'll be back next week to say the same bullshit, but in a jokey way. So she's like, Kent, it's time for the update. What are the Galactics doing? Kent. Well, okay, here's what you have to understand.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that I could tell you and a lot of stuff I can't. You see what's going on in Syria? Yeah, that's actually, they're arresting everybody in the cabal, except one guy I'm going to talk about next week. Crazy.
I know, it's hilarious.
Oh my God.
But she makes good videos about noodle places in Thailand.
And then the other thing that's crazy is like I could bend over backwards to try and please the audience and get like almost nowhere. And then this guy will be like, yeah, or like he's got the same disorder as that gal that hangs out with what's her name? There's another secret space program gal hangs out with the clan mother.
Oh, Patty Broussard.
Patty Broussard's like on Alfred Lamar Weber being like, yeah, there were 5 secret underground dumb bases off the coast of San Francisco where they were killing all the children, but I just flooded them. Yeah,
we just blew up that stuff. And then she's like, one tribes, now it's time for an enema. Or
oh my God!
Sprinkle essential oils on your ass.
And the best was when Miles Johnson had her after she exploded on late night in the Midlands, where he was like totally trying to get to the nasty parts. He's like, I have no idea what happened with late night with the Midlands. What problem did you have there? She's like, oh, I don't know. There was a slight disagreement. He's like, what was it that you said? What was the problem? And then it literally was like the guy from Late Night in the Midlands on the post show was like, I just couldn't take it anymore. If she mentioned hydrating her vagina one more time, I was going to explode. That's all it was. It was enema.
But besides that, it was just the nonsense coming out of both of their mouths about what they did. I mean, the same shit you hear from other people. We did this last night. They're clearing out this underground, all these operations they do at night, and they come on the radio and then they work at the Walmart during the day.
They don't work. They're all public assistants. They're all like on, what I mean? They all get a variety of things.
The show is so bad. She basically opens her laptop, starts recording, and then calls Kent on her phone and just lets it play. So it's
hello everybody, I'm Perry. Welcome to Galactics Update with Kent Dunn. Good morning, Kent.
Here's what you have to understand, and it's all the same Q shit. He just gets Q. It's like everyone has to replace one name with something else to get their version of it. You know what I mean?
Or and change one aspect of it.
And he's like, I go underground. Now here's the other thing about this that Kent Dunn used to be on the Goldfish Report with Louisa until apparently he got bumped for Jim Fetzer or something.
Who did?
Kent Dunn, who does the parody show.
I'm sorry, who bumped him?
He used to go on the Goldfish Report with Louisa all the time. He used to be giving his galactic updates there. And those two guys, they were in love. No offense. They were it was like Howard Stern and Robin. It was like, or you and Suzanne. It's like, thank God they're only interacting with each other over the airwaves of the internet, or else they would literally jump on each other and do it right here, right now, in front of everybody.
No.
Well, I'm joking about you and Suzanne.
Maybe,
a little.
Maybe.
You guys have a certain chemistry, I think, cannot be denied.
A lot of us do. Where's is Joe? Joe, you gonna come? Did you get that link? I don't know his Skype. Grim just slinked out of here. Fucker. He does that. He's a butcher, by the way.
Irish goodbye.
That where you slide down your chair.
Say goodbye.
No, the Irish goodbye is like they you don't say goodbye. You just leave the wedding.
Oh, that's me. I do that all the time.
Say goodbye.
Just leave the wedding.
My uncle died in December. Late last year, early in the year, he died. My uncle died, and we went after. Thank you. After the party, after funeral, whatever the fuck they do afterwards at their house, and eat food and lament.
Right.
I slinked. I left. I was like, I'm out of here. Like I said hi to everyone, and then I just disappeared. I took a bunch of pictures.
That is the Irish goodbye. That's the Irish
Sometimes
goodbye.
you got to do that.
It just makes sense because then you end up saying goodbye for I don't know if everyone has this experience. I have this experience as a married man. My wife has got to do this. We got to say goodbye to everybody, and that's basically like when I try to shut down a live stream. It's going to be an hour and a half later after you say goodbye to everybody.
Semi-torture, even.
You got to hit those little old ladies who are going to just saw you then, and now they have to start the whole conversation about what their kid is doing in law school.
Exactly. You're gonna have to say hi and bye to a bunch of people at once.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible. And meanwhile, if you just leave, only like 3 people are going to know that you left without saying goodbye, and they're the ones that probably have you on Skype or know your phone number anyway, who could call you later to give you the update to say you left just before the other guy dropped dead.
So sometimes the Irish goodbye is the smart goodbye.
The Irish goodbye actually has like a little bit of a bad reputation, but there's a thought process behind it, which is like, don't say goodbye. We're all alive. We're going to see each other again. Yep. You know what I mean?
Very true.
And then the other aspect of the Irish goodbye is that it avoids that whole problem of people telling you that you can't drive yourself home and they want your car keys.
Right.
Yeah.
There's that. The Irish have a lot of.
Good night.
Okay, take care, Nomad.
Good chat.
Oh, you guys are gonna go play D&D?
Absolutely, you know it.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Good night. Irish have a lot of those staying off death type proverbs, like the one "May the devil." I forget how it goes, but may have a head start on your way before the devil knows you're dead, something like that.
Right. Too funny.
Maybe. Anyway, so I don't know what's going on with Comey. Are we still? What do you want to talk about? I don't care.
Let's not talk about Comey. I mean, that guy is like, it's like, oh my God, I'm like Comey'd out.
Okay, that's fine with me. I don't care.
So, but here's something interesting that I was thinking about today that I'll lay out here. I'm going to definitely do it in the longer form, but I'll tease it out here. What's her face from Galactic Connections? What's her name?
Andrea Meadows.
Yeah, exactly. So you know how Andrea Meadows was super tight with that guy who died of some mysterious wasting disease, who's alleging that everybody and their mother was raping him on the astral plane at night? Obama. What's his name?
I don't know.
Tory Smith.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember Tory Smith?
Yeah.
Now, so right before Tory Smith passed away, he was getting locked up on several occasions, and his allegation was that the reason that he was getting locked up was that he had come out and was saying the truth about Mike Pence, right? Mike Pence was one of the guys who was getting together with Obama at night, and they get together and they inject all these like 15 different types of nanotechnology goo into my penis, and then they rape me, and then they watch the kids get raped, and I'm just sitting there going, it's okay. You're going to die, but you're going right back to creator. You're going right back to source. That's my job as I'm getting assaulted here. I'm like, why are you making me watch this? But he was always saying about Mike Pence, Mike Pence, Mike Pence. Andrea Meadows now is trying to get on the Trump train, basically saying that Trump is like from the light and all this stuff. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you do that when you know that your boy just because her and Tory Smith were tight? He might as well have done her hair, right? They enjoyed their hangouts together. Clearly, they would talk about all these horrible, horrendous stories about things going down in the astral, and then the story would shift to him telling her a grand old story about his days of tending bar in Houston, Texas. Or he would say horrible, horrendous things that let you know that the guy's moral and ethical standards were, basically nada. He'd be like, my attitude about it was like, serve them till they fall down. I'm like, that's the exact wrong attitude for a bartender to have. Like, people are driving home. There's kids on the road. You know what I mean? If someone's had too much, you're supposed to cut them off. But whatever. But then Mike Pence gets chosen by Trump. Everyone's loving Trump. And Andrea Meadows not only says nothing, she's now trying to say that during her many communications from Prime Creator was telling her that Trump was part of the Ascension update. You know what I mean? It's all part of the event. And I'm like, and I think to myself, like, do you not make the connection? Like, are people literally that much in denial that they don't make the connections in their own heads? Or are they literally just hoping that the audience doesn't make the connection, that the audience just lets them get a pass on it?
Or they're just playing along to keep selling their bullshit crap, alien implant removal and other nonsense, whatever they've got. Keep that going.
Why not? Got to keep something going, right?
Yeah, it's funny that I wish Joe would get here because I have inside info on prepareforchange.net. Well, not inside, but I mean.
Okay.
He's coming. He's coming. I'll hold with that. But yeah, no, I know. No, keep talking. No, I agree. And the whole thing with that thing down in Arizona last year in October. I don't remember what it was. Metters and her husband. Didn't you hear this from Yvonne? She talked about.
I heard that from. Yeah, I heard Yvonne went off on them.
Yeah, basically, I don't remember what happened, but basically they treated her like shit.
But you know what? The not to say the greatest thing about that, but that there's got to be iPhone video out there somewhere of apparently the story that I heard through Yvonne was basically like she got up there, like she basically not stormed the stage, but when it came time to her to do her moment was just like, everyone that just spoke, they're all full. Like she basically did a friggin' and justice for all. You know what I mean? She did and you're out of order, and you're out of order, and you're out of order, and all this stuff. So there's got to be suppressed tape out there somewhere. But meanwhile, speaking of that pseudo contact in the desert or whatever it was, that's when Robert David Steele might have been around there, hanging there at that point.
Really?
And well, the story. Well, the storyline that I keep on pushing that I'm going to push until it gets out there into the mainstream is Robert David Steele. His NASA. Remember when NASA had to do that press conference where they had to deny the existence of slave colonies on Mars?
Yes,
that was because someone said that on Alex Jones. That someone was Robert David Steele. At the time that
I think they both said it.
No, it was Robert. Here's how it worked.
I remember.
Yeah, there's the videotape. It's Robert David Steele with the 20-year and back program, the Loosh harvesting sex cults on Earth,
right.
And there were slave colonies on Mars. He got that information because Jesse Duchamps at the time from Stillness in the Storm was working with him and Catherine McKinney Justin Duchamps was working with him on hashtag unrig.
Right. With Cynthia McKinney.
Cynthia McKinney. So where did Justin get that information from? Justin was also working. The Stillness of the Storm was Corey's kids were getting their first bump off with Teresa Ineros, Jordan Sather, and the Bobbsey twins, Sabrina and Sterling.
Right, but to me it seems more like the RDS on rig thing picked up on I call it the GFE, by the way. It's the Galactic Federation Entrained. It's the group of people that are Galactic Federation Entrained people, because they seem to believe this. So all these people, they've had the storyline with the Mars thing and 20 back for years and years. Robert David Steele's new. He just picked up on it and brought it into his wheelhouse. Much like David Wilcock and Corey could have pulled QAnon into their wheelhouse as being, you think about these anonymous LARPers that are out there like QAnon or whatever, and they get pulled in as anonymous sources or antagonists to these people who have these nebulous claims that can never be proved, like Wilcock and Good. They put QAnon in. He's one of ours. You cannot prove or deny that because there's no way to. You know what I mean?
My only hope was that by I thought when he roped in QAnon that was basically kind of some sign of like, my thing is that things like are picking up momentum. So if the lifespan of some of these conspiracies used to be like 25 years, now it's going to be like 25 months. Because in the time that Corey Goode has come out, he's already gone from the secret space program, which is what he started with. Then when he got in touch with David Wilcox, that's when he started selling the blue avians. People kept on asking about the blue avians, and the blue avians eventually, they had to jump ship, remember? Santa Claus left. You were all naughty boys and girls, so Santa Claus told me to tell you there wasn't going to be any Christmas this year. Really, Dad? It wasn't that you drunk up all the money for the Christmas presents? You expect me? I'm going to be telling my therapist about this for years, Dad. No. There's no Christmas because you're an alcoholic. No, shut up. It's because you talk back to me, and it's with no Christmas. Santa said no. The Blue Avians left town, and now he's got a rope in QAnon. I think when Donald Trump gets indicted, because no one this guy's just bringing the whole thing down around everybody's ears. When he gets finally the boot or turns into a one-term president and Q disappears, or the more likely scenario with Q is that the 4chan trolls who destroyed Scientology with Anonymous are going to come out and be like, guess what, you jerks? Well, guess what, you jerks? You all admitted to looking at child pornography. You all admitted to looking at snuff films. You all admitted to this, that, and the other thing. And it was a massive goddamn troll. We're Q. It's me, Henrietta Sunshine, this other guy with rainbow hair. You know what I mean? And then what's going to happen is that all the Q people are going to be like, they killed Q. Damn it. He was a hero. They'll have a T-shirt. You know what I mean? It'll be like an American flag with Q on it. Be like, we will never forget. We will always remember.
They'll just put out a feature film. You know it.
They will.
But okay, so I know. Okay, this has been my thing the whole time. Is regardless of what happens going forward, we're going to have one group is going to take the other group's action as a coup. Right. If Mueller says, there's no Russian collusion, and whatever, he doesn't find anything, and that's it. And then the DOJ comes out against Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and all the shenanigans that are going on there, which they are real.
Oh, everyone, the whole thing is corrupt. It's like two wrongs don't make a right.
Right. But both sides.
Joe needs
I don't know what Trump's done.
Skype.
I haven't seen any evidence that Trump, where? In Skype?
No, he just said, they said this computer crash. Could you please resend the link, Jerry?
I don't have his Skype.
I have his Skype.
You send it to him.
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on.
I don't know his real name.
Okay, hold on.
I think Carolina is.
I think it's Joe. Let me see. Where'd you send me the original link? Was in Skype, right?
I was about to send it to Hangouts when you.
Do I have him in Skype? Yeah, hold on, wait.
Joe from the Carolinas. Oh, he is there. I got it too.
You got him? Well, okay. Thank God, because I'm a retard. No, not to be speaking bad about people with mental handicaps.
Go ahead. I don't care.
Try to be politically correct for once.
It's not allowed here.
Not allowed here?
Mm-mm.
Meanwhile, when we talk about lifestyles of life cycles going faster and faster, in the in a much bigger realm of YouTube, there used to be these things after there was Gamergate. There was a whole bunch of these people, the quote unquote skeptic community. The skeptic community started to implode when this guy Crowton T started doxing people. And then right on their tails was a group of alt-right maniacs, basically circling around the world of Andy Worski. Me and Dave talk about it all. DG Dave talk about it all the time.
I should invite him to.
Those group of people, Styx Hexenhammer, Andy Worski, Mr. Medicare, they destroyed the skeptics, basically annihilated them. Started just seeping off their audience, just liquidating them. And now, within short order, those new group of alt-right maniacs, Kekistani warriors, are now eating their own. They're killing each other left, right, and center. They're doxing each other for child pornography possession. It's insanity. Insanity. And meanwhile, they did over between April 19th and yesterday, these guys were doing streams that were basically 8-hour streams after 8-hour stream after 8-hour stream. And they were generating viewership in 5,000-6,000 viewers. So the notion that our little world over here, that the Project Camelot is being suppressed, or that YouTube has got any interest in them whatsoever, is laughable.
I know, or that they're being directed by government agencies because they own Google. I keep hearing that and it drives me insane. Not that Google isn't
right. Google probably owns the NSA more than the NSA owns Google.
And if I hear one person claim that the CIA just has a huge contract with Google to store their data, well, yeah, they do. Google runs like the best hosting service in the world.
Right.
And that's what they do. They host their data and their servers. They're just like every other fucking internet website you go to are all hosted there or on Microsoft systems. So pick your devil.
Pick your devil. There you go.
Yeah.
Or the and I know that Joe's here, so we'll let him pipe in. But the other thing is this: like all these people, like talking about biting the hand that feeds you. It's like you're on. They act like YouTube is some sort, or the internet just kind of just exists. It doesn't just exist. Facebook doesn't just exist. Twitter doesn't just exist. You signed on to their service. You only exist because of them,
right?
Not the other way around.
And the people who bitch about I got censored and yada whatever, any complaint you have, I will ask, did you read the user agreement that you agreed to when you joined that site? And everyone says no.
No.
Well, don't bitch.
There you go.
I didn't read it either. I'm not saying I'm any better, okay? But I'm not going to complain.
But I'm not going to complain. Exactly. If I get the numbers I get, I'm happy. You know what I mean?
I'd rather claim.
So satisfied.
I didn't know.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Anyway, hey Joe, what's going on, dude? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, how about now?
Perfect.
Can hear you now, baby.
Awesome.
Oh,
Joey Golden.
Yeah, I'm here since from Mars, campaigning for the future president. Another timeline.
Absolutely.
He looks like...
I hope he decides to serve his second term here on Earth with the rest of us, so we can all get to the bottom of disclosure.
We'll have to see what the microscopic creatures say on every grain of sand over here.
Wait, microscopic or nano?
Oh, nano for sure.
Okay.
Nano's the new micro, as well as the holographic universe is the new quantum non-locality. Right?
What?
Right on.
Well, I'm saying that if you remember about 5-6 years ago, no, it's got to be like 10 years ago at this point, the buzzwords in the New Age community and the mystical magical community was all quantum non-locality. Quantum non-locality proves that why The Secret is real. Quantum non-locality proves why Deepak Chopra tells you that any illness you have is basically just like Mary Baker Eddy. It's just a product of your imagination or a soul contract that you made with the fucking reptoids before you took birth here to work out your karma.
Dude.
And now it's all the holographic universe. We're all living in a virtual simulation. We're all living in a Rick and Morty cartoon.
Yeah, called Roy, right?
Oh,
David Wilcock is live.
David Wilcock is live. Let's get him.
I got to find him.
Send him a link.
Where's the link? Who told me that? Amanda, where is he? What? Vanessa.
Amanda, hug and kiss.
I love that. I always say that too.
There you
Speak.
Enter.
What's up?
Do you practice any type of magic?
Yeah, I consider my whole life is kind of.
I'm not talking like a secret or like positive.
No, he doesn't.
Sigil magic.
No, I do. My study of magic over the years has there are certain things that have become part and parcel of my lifestyle and things that I do. So I do even things like the channeling is not so much magical ritual so much, but I do things that are totally influenced by like sigil magic and stuff like this.
What about planetary magic?
No, because the minute it gets into formulas and numbers is when it turns into calculus for me, and I jump ship.
Listen, I suck at math, but all I do is pay attention to the day. Monday, Moon. Tuesday, Mars. Wednesday, Mercury. Thursday, Jupiter, right? And then I just pay attention to the hours, which apps can tell you. And I do a hymn every single hour, every planet on the day.
That sounds like a righteous activity.
The synchronicities that have been starting for me are crazy. My son, my 8-year-old son, walked up out of nowhere yesterday morning. Just walked up to me and said, "Mama, yeah, 32." I said, "What? 32." I picked up a fucking lottery ticket for my mother. Guess what the fuck number was on?
32.
32.
No way.
I swear to fucking God. Or whatever. Goddess, Lilith, whoever. I don't know. Heck it. But, and I dream better. Like my dreams, I can see. I used to never be able to see like letters and numbers, and now I can see shit written on like books and stuff that I see in my dreams. It's so weird. But if I don't write them down immediately, like if I don't wake up, roll over, and like text it to myself, it's gone.
No, writing down your dreams will absolutely strengthen.
I have my phone and I text myself, like a text message to myself.
Okay. Well, I know that.
Then, like later, I'm like, "What the fuck is this? I don't remember this."
I used to never be able to remember my dreams, primarily because I was smoking too much marijuana. When I quit smoking marijuana and drinking, I started having the craziest dreams again. And I noticed that by writing them down and keeping a dream journal, it creates that connection and it keeps the dreams coming. So I've had plenty of lessons come through to me.
Read back your dreams and like shit that happens to you. And like I dreamt of the number 11. I never dream of numbers. I'm horrible at that. And I went to the beach. I was lonely and sad. And fucking 11 pelicans. I counted them. I was like 1, 3, 4, 5. Fucking 11. They just right up. I was like, dude, this is retarded. What is happening?
I want to give a shout out to Thomas Kerwin in the chat. Thomas Kerwin, what's up? Long time to say, not to cut you off.
It's calling a Bitcoin breakout. I like that. I'd rather see a Litecoin.
Meanwhile, Bitcoin. Let's all admit it. Cryptocurrency has gone the way of the internet boom of the 2000s.
Oh no, not at all.
Nothing about crypto.
Crypto is over.
I would prefer to talk about magic.
No, we're talking about cryptocurrency and politics tonight.
Cryptocurrency is deader than James Brown or LA Styles.
Get up off that thing. What?
I don't know nothing about crypto.
But that's what we're talking about tonight, and other stuff, and woo. And Joe's here to tell us all about Mars and Andrew Bashago.
Please, Joe, how you doing? Next time we derailed it. Joe's came in, and I was like, "Hey, Joe, thank you, thank God Joe's here. You can say something anyway." That's the CW chanter.
I'm here for the chanter, man.
Listen, there you go.
Did you guys
what am I, chopped liver?
Our big dumb mouth about the Mach effect? Did anybody listen to that?
The whoa, who?
Which effect?
Missing 411 Mach effect about like. Did anybody hear that?
No.
What's the Mach effect?
I'm hearing it from you for the first time now.
Our big dumb mouth, Mike.
Yeah, Joe. No, I don't watch that show.
Fuck it, it doesn't matter.
Sorry.
They're talking about this dude who
Thomas Kerwin
has this theory. It's called the Mach effect with David Polite. Think 411. The reason why these people go missing is because they fucking totally get sucked into space,
the glory hole,
and come out like a different portal in a different spot, especially children. Because children, forget it. You guys don't want to talk about it.
No,
I'm just trying to follow.
Understand?
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about.
You fucking know what David Polite is? Missing.
Yeah, but you never said that.
I did too.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
So Politis, on other interviews that he's done, he said that basically he's ruled out the whole portal theory. And so how did he respond during that interview? Because I've not heard that one. And he tends to be a pretty much a parrot.
Okay, so there's this, man, damn it. I just heard it today. So it's so fresh in my mind. I can't remember names. There's a man on YouTube who is like majorly researching this. There's children who remember following a dog.
Okay.
In the woods, and then all of a sudden will be like days later in a like completely different place, alive and fine. They remember a dog. This has something to do with like Skinwalker Ranch and fucking Bigfoot, and all this shit is mixed. Like,
do you know what the greatest thing that I think is out there? I think that there's some dude out there whose wife or girlfriend is totally in the bell jar for all this stuff, who goes disappearing for days, weeks on end, screwing everything in sight, drinking himself crazy, smoking himself crazy, and every time he comes home, he's like, baby, you won't believe it. It happened again. This missing time, this alien experimentation. I got abducted again.
Okay, what about this fucking CDC doctor?
Babe, smell my finger. I'm not lying.
What about the CDC doctor?
It's look, there's nothing we'll be able to determine about that. It's like but
there's like 82 fucking doctors. Holistic doctors.
He was not a holistic doctor. He was not a holistic doctor.
Like president or something.
No, he wasn't. He was a commander.
He was Andrew Basiago.
Whatever. He was higher up.
He was a commander, and he was not passed over for promotion. That was a lie.
So why is he around?
He fell in the fucking Chattahoochee. He was jogging. I don't know why he had crystals in his pocket.
You really believe that?
Something happened to him. It is weird, but there's no information I could possibly find out about it. There's no way to solve it.
Neither could I.
It's a quest without any treasure.
Well, it's like this. It's like these cops that broke their hearts when they saw the videotape of Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin doing a friggin' Hannibal Lecter on some kid.
Why are we talking about Hillary?
Right, and well,
because it's the same thing. It's a story.
Huma was gifted to her.
Where's Rambo?
I didn't hear that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, neither would I. What?
Never mind. Sorry.
Anyway.
No. I was just saying that basically the problem is that we live now in a society, we live in a community who is willing to accept pure speculation and innuendo. Anything that's possible, it's possible that it happened, and they make that jump from it's possible to it's the explanation. Do you know what I mean? Like how many people do we know are reporting to themselves and reporting and repeating the story that the sex tape of Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin killing a child is out there, and that there was a group of NYPD officers who saw it.
Why do you pay attention to that shit, Chanter?
What? Because that's the world we live in. That's what we're talking about.
It gives us something to talk about.
It gives us it's a case study in how human behavior and what people are doing. And the reason that I really pay attention to it is because we're trying to find a way to stop it. Because what ends up happening is that the David Wilcox of tomorrow is made from the David Wilcox of today, taking speculation and story and then spinning it into fact. To where, because here's the bottom line. I say it again. I beat it like a dead horse. There are people who have been accused of gross sexual misconduct, who have been investigated by the police, and who have been cleared of those accusations. And is their name really cleared? No. You have people who feel absolutely free. Colonel Michael Aquino, say what you want about him. His major crime is being a member of the Temple of Set. His major crime is coming out and appearing on the Geraldo Rivera show and saying that he's a Satan. Right? And so now what happens? Now what happens to this poor guy who's a Vietnam vet? He's a fucking veteran.
Right.
Because he's a member of the Church of Satan and because he formed the Temple of Set, you have people who I even did the interview with Christina Joan Hart. They say over and over again that you got Stephen D. Kelly basically threatening Michael Aquino's life on his internet radio show. And whatever internet radio show that Stephen Kelly has is like the home of the lunatics. It's him, Terry Joyce and Douglas Dietrich, saying the most horrendous, horrendous, terrible things about people. First of all, Douglas Dietrich is a fucking racist. He's a racist scumbag. He's basically Antifa, and he's basically come out and said it. So fuck that guy. Who's another guy who will never debate me because I'll fucking trounce him. You know what I mean? But he says, the most horrendous, horrible things about veterans. You know what I mean?
About everybody.
The poor World War II white pieces of shit, veterans. And it's absolute insanity.
And then he'll bring up his mixed heritage and how they were persecuted and yada, yada, yada.
And meanwhile, isn't it a little bit curious that the guy that hates white people so much has got a white person's name?
Listen to this.
Lay down on the couch and
a Nazi name, I dare say.
All right, there you go.
Douglas Dietrich.
CW Chanter, that white piece of shit.
Listen to this cheap little story.
Okay.
So
I went to the vape shop the other day, and the girl who worked there is like, "Oh, this girl's got it made. She's dating like this 24-year-old military career dude." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, he makes bank. He started in military when he was in high school. He's career military. He makes like $100,000 a year." So I'm like, okay, so what? He do this because he loves his country? The whole point of the story is this dude in high school decided, I'm joined. What's this shit you join in high school?
The Coast Guard.
No.
ROTC.
Right, ROTC. So he joins ROTC. He exits high school into the military already as what? General or something, whatever they call it.
They're like corporals.
Anyway, he's 25 years old and makes 80 fucking grand.
So?
Doesn't give a shit about his country.
Is he a honey badger?
He just wants the money. You know what I mean? Like, these kids are not doing this because they love America. They're doing it because they're getting money. They're getting banged.
Well, I mean, this guy might be getting back. For the most part, when you hear most people tell their stories about why they joined the military, they are joining it as a form of, social ladder climbing, because a lot of them
they're avoiding prison.
Well, but even that, a lot of those people are doing those things because those are the only ways out. I mean, you have to realize that joining the U.S. military is not like today. Is not like joining the U.S. military in 1995.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I live like 3 miles from Camp June. My house shakes from bombs. They fucking spend money.
That's just the deep underground military base is being flooded by Patty Massard.
Play bombs. We're not using bombs. We're playing bombs.
Oh well, but listen, I mean, that's the truth. They dropped the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan basically because the expiration date. They admitted it. The expiration date was about to run on that bad boy. They do. They absolutely do.
Dude,
bombers open bomb bays.
Crazy ass helicopter the other night. It was so crazy. So it was a helicopter.
Was it black?
Fucking shit was on the side and it was lit up green.
There was black helicopters referenced as frequency weapons.
Dude, it was a fucking helicopter, but the blades were on the side and they were green.
Wait. In that mind control documents that got leaked by that Western, did you read about that?
Oh, yeah.
Chanter?
Wait, which one?
Dude, I see some crazy
All right. It's my turn. My turn. Please. I got to find this. Was
you guys ever see Tron?
Yeah, fuck.
It's a documentary.
I wouldn't doubt it. All right. So, a journalist doing routine Freedom of Information Act requests away, yada, yada, was sent something.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
sent something they didn't ask for. Okay, it was for Washington State.
Joe just did a segment on it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically,
go watch Joe's.
Yeah, it's okay. No, the documents that were included on a routine FOIA request was basically like he's just trying to find out stuff about Antifa and white supremacists from the Washington State Fusion Center. And they included in the zip file like 3 different images of mind control technology talking about how they use different electromagnetic frequencies to affect like people being able to hear voices in their head, see through their eyelids, this will excite you, have spontaneous orgasms. I mean, it just crazy stuff. And it's coming from the fusion center.
Interesting.
Like,
no, I saw, yeah. I mean, so
the one thing that caught me was in this graphic that I'm showing on the stream. You guys can't really see it. They have towers where they can do mass and individual remote mind control by a mobile phone network, right? That's kind of creepy. The one by the van, and then the quote unquote, they got quote marks in it: black helicopter carrying psychotronic weapons.
Yep.
You know, when I hear people talk about black helicopters showing up, I think, okay, you're a nut job. But maybe there really are that kind of crazy shit going on.
So now here's how deep the question can go, because so was this stuff released in this Freedom of Information Act request,
or is it
by mistake? Mm-hmm. Was it done by mistake, or was it done by purpose? And if it was done on purpose, was it a white hat guy trying to get that information out there, or is it a concentrated disinformation technique? Because I retweeted that when some crazy QAnon pedogate guy named Anti-School or whatever tweeted it. I retweeted it, and then Dave, Bird of the Hill Productions, wrote back to me and Joe from the Carolinas, was like, "There's no way that this technology works this way." So, you know, and that he didn't think that it looked like a legit document. So there's like a whole bunch of things. And also you get into the guy who quote unquote did the Freedom of Information Act, who says all of a sudden, oh, and there was this other thing that was included in it. Like, who knows, like where it gets introduced into the system.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think what the really scary thing is this, is that what I think that we're really involved in now is this. If you look at all the allegations about what's happening with Russia, and if you look at what's being alleged with this Cambridge Analytica place, what the real dirty secret is that if you talk about Colonel Michael Aquino, it's now psychological warfare is the mainstream warfare of the game.
It has
Don't
been.
blow up anybody. Yeah, absolutely. It's all, and now that we live in the information age, when people have more connections with each other through Facebook and technology,
yes,
you can control the people through just information.
Here's my I came to this decision the other day, exactly this whole thing. The World War II happened during our industrial age.
Right.
It was an industrial war. World War III will happen during the information age, and it will be an information war.
Crazy.
We're well into it right now.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it just in terms of efficiency,
right?
Right. Like, why would they need to send troops down the street and go door to door and take everybody's guns? All they need to do is get people's butts sitting in front of their TV or in their computer, computer, you know, walk in their house and walk out of their house, you know?
Right.
Exactly.
Then they'll try to get more and more people plugged into VR technology. Forget it. If a person's like heavy into the VR zone, you could sweep up half their neighbors, and they would never even notice. You know what I mean? And then you tell them it's exactly the same people's reaction to these things. People can hear these things and they don't do anything.
Right.
Like or even this, like talking about information war. Like people used to protest. What were the quote unquote gun nuts, the Second Amendment militia fighters, going to do? They were going to actively resist military control. Right before Donald Trump got elected, Alex Jones was out there going, "They got checkpoints." Remember Operation Jade Helm? And there were people up in arms, ready to go piece to piece. Now Donald Trump is saying that he's going to deploy the National Guard into the Texas border, and the same people who were like, "Fuck that," the military, they're like, "Fuck yeah, all right." You know what I mean? It's so crazy. Or this whole pedogate, Pizzagate thing. It's like anyone gets arrested. How do you silence your political opposition? What's the allegation against Hillary Rodham Clinton? She's molesting and killing children.
Eating.
Don't forget eating. And then who was going to do disclosure? Who was the biggest advocate of disclosure?
John Podesta.
It was John Podesta.
Right.
It was John Podesta.
Oh, and
right
after Donald Trump gets in, now, right?
And then conveniently, and then think of the stuff that people are willing to accept as evidentiary proof. Obscure, weird statements and emails.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's like, oh, by the way, hi, Belle out there, little girl Belle, Jeff's daughter wants me to say hi. So anyway, my point is that this thing is so ridiculous because you had the militia movement, right? The Second Amendment militia. And basically they're like, oh, okay, it's Donald Trump. We'll give him a chance, and it's give me a break. QAnon, because some dude is keeping everybody, chasing headlines one day after the next. It's like, it's just hope and change on the other side of the fence.
Yes.
And how quickly people are to give up their strongly held convictions when somebody basically says, oh yeah, I agree with you and we're going to send troops to the border. How the heck you think they're going to get to the border there, punk?
QAnon's, yeah, I know. QAnon's like a Tea Party New Age movement.
It is.
Yeah, right.
It is. It is a info war. It's an info war psyop.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of info wars, you guys were talking earlier about Alex Jones. This guy's been totally exposed. Exposed.
And speak. Well, so as basically, he's been on RT a million times. He's basically, first of all, the Koch brothers provided with 90% of his money. There's no way that he's getting money from affiliates.
I didn't know. I thought you meant something else. No, I know that he's a mainstream figure. Of course, he's controlled by a corporate entity.
Yep.
Goes without saying.
And I would just like to take this opportunity to say, once upon a time, Jeff's daughter was asking me to say and wave hi to her. I stick behind when I first saw Joe from the Carolinas come up, I was like, this goddamn pretty boy. I said, he's got the youth. I said, I'm done. It's a wrap for CW Chat there. Yeah, and I also want to take this opportunity to say hi to Lee Veltman and Modwiz. Your mothers.
And pretty soon Belle's going to be wanting me to say hi to her, right?
Joe, I'm following you on Twitter and will not follow me.
And at the oh my God! And at the start of this, she was telling me that she was following me on Twitter. I'm looking at what's happening to me.
Oh my God!
I'm not here. It's like I'm Elvis Presley doing stupid ass movies, watching the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, going, "This doesn't look good. This does not look good."
Speaking of stupid ass movies, go ahead. What were you going to say, Vanessa? If you talk next to your speaker so we can hear you, it would help a lot.
Oh.
No, I don't have anything to say. We just can't hear you.
I was just talking about Twitter.
I should just say, I check in on Twitter maybe once every day, once every 4 days. So don't take it personal, please.
I do.
Okay. Well, that's to you.
Meanwhile, I check in on Twitter every hour on the hour going, why hasn't Jerry Cthulhu or Walter Bosley responded to my last tweet?
Half the time I'm working out if you're joking or not.
Half the time I have to work out if I'm joking or not.
Check out the picture. Can you see this picture I'm showing in the live stream?
Nice.
Talking about nice one.
Tell me that that's real.
I just see you.
Tell me that that's real.
I don't know.
What? What are you looking at?
I'm pretty sure it is. I wasn't around. I haven't seen it, so I can't, promise anything. But
I see Joe.
No, it's on the feed. It's on the feed, Vanessa, not here. Anyway,
Vanessa, you are
to the feed. Tell me how I get to
Vanessa, you're like the Donnie of the Jerry Cthulhu Hive broadcast. You wander into the middle of a conversation and demand to know what's going on.
You're like a child that wanders into the middle of a conversation.
I'm very new at this.
No, you're not. No, you keep saying that. You're very drunk at this, is what you're doing.
Oh.
Bullshit. I'm not drinking a bottle of water.
Okay. I thought you were drinking again. I just have these. I'm not lightweight, is what you said before.
Where's the feed?
On YouTube. The actual. Never mind. It's gone now. I'll send it to you.
We'll know that she got to the feed when the screaming feedback of
It's in Discord. It's in Discord. Yeah, right. Exactly. When we get the looping audio. I could just do that right now to save you the trouble if you'd like. Just play the feed.
Anyway.
Vanessa, what is your Twitter handle?
Beta Gray 0708.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Or Vacate Planet.
We can't vacate planet Earth if it's a flat Earth.
Well, if there's a firmament, we can't vacate at all. We really can't go anywhere because of the Van Allen belt. So.
Dude,
exactly.
What about Agartha?
It's just the only way out is in.
Got to get in to get out.
Do you think that
Carpet
David
crawlers.
Bowie Did
That's
David Bowie? Did David Bowie go to like the place beyond the ice wall?
Maybe.
No, I think he passed away from cancer. I thought that was.
Yeah, he's rotting on the ground, putrefying actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Roger Waters go to the place beyond.
Yeah, they hate him.
Dude, Earth is bigger than we live in this shitty fucking dirty place.
Maybe.
What?
There's
What?
like a other place.
It's all what you make of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Admiral Byrd. You think that's real?
Admiral Byrd was a
No.
psyop.
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
It's the public version of whatever happened.
so now let's talk about. Here's another thing that's
Okay,
interesting.
so what about
Can we focus?
What about the pyramids?
I'd like to.
Can we?
Like,
We're really jumping like every 10 seconds, and I would love to hang out and stay.
Yeah, we want to
but
keep Joe.
I'm really having a hard time following. No
Okay.
offense. I'm just having a real hard time following where the hell we're going with this. So we got Douglas Dietrich. We got. I mean, let's just add this up.
Let's just alphabetize them.
Yeah. so okay. So
A is for Agartha.
We were talking
Yeah.
about the mind control documents and how fake they may be.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, absolutely. That's a good one because that's topical and on point. And
Absolutely.
Joe just did a thing on it, so he can help us through it.
Right. So you were describing that they just kind of, we've got these two, and they can't be verified, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we can't. And the problem is that the methods that they're talking about with these electromagnetic frequencies, these psychoelectronic weapon effects, it's all old school. It's all old school news. And so what Chandler was bringing up about whether it is a psyop that maybe there was a mole that released it or it's disinfo, the question is, well, what if both are true?
Right.
What if the point of this is to get into the internet and into all of the supercomputers and stuff? What if it's to get people talking and writing about black helicopters again, so it makes it acceptable before they come out and deny it and make it a pathology, like some kind of a disorder? Because I was conditioned to think when people talk about black helicopters, they're insane.
I just said that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly your point,
So the other thing I just wanted to say is it also came out at a curious time because basically the 5G rollout has begun. And
Right.
a lot of companies are trying to get done by the end of the year. So those use a lot of the similar frequencies. And it might just be some kind of anti-COINTEL. I don't even know how to think about how weird it would be put that out to somehow hurt either one side or just cause more disinfo. It could just be kids pranking too. Those pictures suck. Those pictures suck, honestly.
They're terrible.
When the reason I had gotten up is because I've got a book that was a conspiracy theory book that was printed up in probably about 1987, between 1987 and 1989. And a lot of this stuff is very similar to the stuff that was being talked about then, the notion of electromagnetic mind control and all this stuff. Like I tell people, like I've been following this scene since the late 90s. So a lot of these storylines and a lot of these concepts are not new. But what's really scary is this, is that you have people who have like legitimate, like, mental disorders, paranoid schizophrenia, what have you. And one of the most common paranoid schizophrenic expressions that was going on post World War II was the notion of people hearing radio in their teeth and feeling as though that when they went to the dentist, they were getting their braces or their fillings, and they were thinking that they were hearing the radio. Then you had people that were claiming to be allergic to electricity, and you have people that moved to these there are places in America that are near these radio telescopes that it's illegal to have Wi-Fi. And a lot of people moved there because a lot of people were saying that they were having legitimate reactions to electromagnetic
shit if something wasn't happening.
They don't do any of these. To kind of back up what Chanter's saying, they don't do any studies as far as health effects, long-term health effects, whether mental health or physical health, on any of these cell technologies or radio technology. None, zip, zero. And so it's like we are. In science, it starts with observation. It doesn't start with, okay, there's something going on. Right. It starts with, is there something going on? And this 5G thing, whenever the hell that actually rolls out to everywhere,
Right.
There is going to be a problem. The engineers that are working on 5G will not stand in between the transmitter and the receiver. They will not stand between it. They call the transmitter the death machine because there's so much stuff going on out of there.
Yeah, and then the other thing that happens is that all that information is going on. Then you have people who are then all of a sudden getting because their paranoid schizophrenia acts up or whatever. This information is all going around in the ether, and then you can't. It's hard to tell what's coming or what's going. Like Max Egan might be smart in a lot of what he says about 5G, but then there's probably a lot of other stuff, other information that's put on top of it regarding it being intentional. Like they're trying to, it's a soft kill rollout or whatever, that may or may not be the case. You also have this thing with everyone's talking about Antarctica and why are all these people going down to Antarctica? And a lot of these people might be going down to Antarctica because I started getting turned on to this guy called Guy McPherson. And he's an outlier, which is the only thing that gives me a little bit of hope. But basically, he's one of these environmentalists who says, forget about advocating for environmental change. Forget about trying to control carbon emissions. Forget about trying to control any of this stuff. We are already way past the point of no return. That humanity has basically maybe 8 years, 9 years on planet Earth at the most. Give it up. So a lot of these people are saying that these people John Kerry or whatever, Secretary of State, might be going down to Antarctica because they might be meeting with people who are saying, yo, what are we really going to do? Because Florida is going to be underwater. Manhattan is going to be underwater. In 5 years, we have to have a real game plan here. And a lot of these people are saying that the elites are going. We know for a fact that Peter Thiel has bought 500 acres in New Zealand, right? Basically under the advice that a lot of what we call, Western culture and society is going to be completely, uninhabitable in a couple of years. The last thing I want to say at that point before throwing it back out to the group to talk about is this. You have guys like Sam Harris and Douglas Murray who are complaining about, and a lot of other people are complaining about uncontrolled immigration in Europe, saying that these people are not refugees. They're not refugees because they're not refugees from war. They're economic refugees that the Western European countries and Eastern European countries should close their doors to because those Eastern and Western European countries can't support them. And my take on it is you could say that they're economic refugees. They're environmental refugees. The Sahara Desert is growing. There's people that are leaving Africa because it's uninhabitable.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You're right. The rate of desertification is exponential, meaning that if the desert grows this much in 2 years, in 5 years it grows 4 times as much. And you're absolutely right, and it's pushing people out, which plays in to this whole idea of kind of and you did an excellent broadcast on the whole clearing up the myths of the Hegelian dialectic, CW.
Thank you.
That plays into the whole thing of climate change is a myth, and you have these climate change deniers. It's well, if you can get somebody rooted so far against that they're not even looking at what's going on with the possibility that the people in the know are going down to Antarctica to figure out what the hell they can do. It's you just keep the people distracted however you need to if you've only got 5 or 10 years left.
Right.
That's
it.
And the Bushes 15 years ago bought, what was it? I think it was 50 or 70,000 hectares of land down in Paraguay.
Close to where the Falkland Island War was, right?
Yeah.
There you go. They're going to jump ship on an alien spacecraft.
Well, no, I've heard that this is the crazy part I heard was that all the presidents, everyone in the Clinton-Bush crime family, they all have land down there in and around Argentina and Paraguay, which is near the Falkland Islands, which is near the big dormant pile of black goo that's allegedly down there.
Well, so that's the thing. So the conspiracy theory people might be seeing real, actual movement, but they're just got their heads up their ass when it comes to the actual cause. What do you think is more likely, that actual detrimental environmental damage is causing those guys to seek places on planet Earth where they could maybe it might just be the fact that the viability of some of these regions might just be based on population. Like, do you want to be in Washington D.C. when the shit goes down, or do you want to be in a bunker in like you know?
I want to be up in the mountains of Peru playing a fucking pipe. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Exactly.
It's too bad Barbara's not here with us, but we got the grandkids, and we're going to rebuild again. It's going to be fine.
Said the man with
1,000 points of light, because that's all we have.
A new world order.
A new world order. And that's like talk about people talk about they took down the Georgia Guidestones. Maybe they took down the Georgia Guidestones because whoever put them up realized that there's no point anymore.
Who said they were taken down?
Right.
Someone had told me that they were taken down for one part of them was taken down or something. Or something was added to them or something a couple of years ago, I remember.
Oh, a couple of years ago? I don't know. I heard I heard a really good interview today. This reminded me with the New World Order. It was really interesting. It was an interview with a guy named Jason Louv. He was he worked for editor for Disinfo a while back. He just wrote a new book.
Oh.
Yeah. He just wrote a new book.
I love that.
Called John D. and the Empire of the Angels.
Ooh.
And he's talking about it in this podcast called A Culture. Oh, it's like a cult with culture. Oh, culture. With Ryan Peverly. Great podcast. Everyone should check it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tried to get Ryan to come on.
He won't come on. He's too much for me, he said. I can't handle all this, he said. Anyway.
Dude, so
wait, I'm talking. Wait, yeah, she's got it right there. That's the book. In that interview, you destroy everything. Mine.
Tablet.
Well, stop. Anyway,
that's what Moses said.
My handler, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, in this interview, he basically says that the angels are dictating the Enochian language, the Enochian magical system to them, so they can utilize it to bring upon the apocalypse, to bring upon the world a new world order where the angels are in charge.
Oh,
that was yeah. It puts a whole new spin on that, and part of that was, England becoming the British
what it looks like
Empire.
without the cheesy cover.
Cool. That the British Empire was Archangel Michael's idea. That was his term. British Empire was his term that he brought in. It was an interesting article. I ordered that.
Peter Levanda.
Dean Radden's been on.
I know he's hawking the book. Lavenda, what? I like Lavenda.
Yeah, no, well, I don't. We don't know because Peter Levenda is a guy who's willing to use lies and deception. And is he really? He's got a whole bunch of connections. He's got a whole bunch of legitimate connections to China. He's got a whole bunch of connections into the underground Catholic movement, the underground Orthodox Church.
So what?
He's also worked with Tom DeLonge. Well, I'm not saying anything bad against him. I'm just saying he's another guy who's willing to use. He's got no problem using lies.
Everybody's got skeletons.
Yeah,
it seems.
But he had
I'm sorry. The Orthodox Church that you were talking about that he was part of wasn't actually a church. It was just used to ferret intelligence agents back and forth.
Right.
In New York,
Oh, who else talked about that? I've heard somebody talk about that. Like a building or something. Oh man, was it?
Yeah,
Chicago.
Jerry, I know what you're talking about, but I can't.
It might have been.
No.
Getting back to the psychotronic weapons, real quick. Yeah. Sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Do you know?
Wait. Robert Guffey wrote that book, Chameleon. Have you guys ever heard him talk about that or read that book?
I've read that book.
I haven't.
You read it?
Heard about it.
So there's clear use of psychotronic weapons by outside agencies, by mercenary.
I'll be right back.
Sure. That one company in San Diego that's now in West Virginia, I believe, or somewhere around there. They moved. But yeah, that was. So I mean, they're the government. Somebody has those weapons. They're out there.
Absolutely. And the whole invisibility stuff that they were talking about in terms of the technologies, everything, explains a lot.
Yeah, it does.
It explains an awful lot. you know? And so I mean, the whole idea of mind control and all that, it's like we're all being mind controlled. The degree, it's like the question is just how much are we being influenced by it? You know what I mean?
It's a question of intensity.
Right. That's all it is, you know? And look, you know, if there's angels or demons or whatever the hell you want to call them in another dimension, and they're all operating on us to bring about an apocalypse, sure, you know, you can open that door up. But the question is, who's more familiar with that side of the fence, them or us? And so when with things of conjuring in that space and engaging in those sorts of rituals, I've always thought that if there's something over there, what's to say that the effects that they have once you do that doesn't come about until several years later? You know, if time is different there, but maybe it isn't.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean,
yeah,
what if those things could just be simply aspects of our consciousness?
That's right.
Collective. I mean, it's really hard to say what they are. I was trying to pin down Gordon White on this the other night. He kind of evaded my question, but I want to know, you know, is there one type of entity or are there multiple? Are they all self-generated that you deal with yourself personally? Or is it something that comes out of the cloud? Or is it something else? A third thing?
Well, right. also remember Hellraiser. What does Pinhead say? You know, demons to some, angels to others, like their conception of, you know what I mean?
No question there. That's cool. I'm more interested in origin. Are these background programs here because they do the same thing back and forth over and over again? Are they, you know, DNA replay via hologram? Is that what ghosts are?
Well,
I think so.
Well, the questions of like who created who, like, you know, okay, so you've graduated past the Judeo concept of God, because you know that if God created the universe, then who created God, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's still, if it's the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki mess with our genetics to do whatever, okay, well then who created the Anunnaki? So it's an infinite return. So the notion is that at what point, what kickstarted everything, and what is the origin of entities?
The first rendering. That's what kickstarted it. The first rendering.
Now, also always remember this: is that in the simulated theory universe basically goes like this: the likelihood that you're in a simulated world versus a real world, it's infinitely greater probability that you're in a simulated world. But even that, the central premise of that simulated world theory has to start with at least one real actual place. So here's the other thing: it's like, why don't we look outside our world and see alien civilizations out there? We might be actually turning out to be the first, and it could be. Check this out: when we think about these mythologies or these myths of the Anunnaki, maybe it's just a potentiality that we see in ourselves, that we know eventually we're going to see ourselves in some strange universe going, these hominids, they're almost there. If we just were to fuck all the hominids until we create another race of people. You know what I mean? Gotta fuck something. We didn't travel all this way for nothing, right?
I actually heard an explanation for that today from Andrew Bartzis, who I kind of like, by the way.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting guy. I like him. I like James Bartley. I have no idea.
I love James Bartley, but yeah. So Andrew Bartzis today was talking about the control rooms that run this place, right? This construct has 40 control rooms. 20 are controlled by one side, 11 by another, and the rest haven't been found yet. He was talking about, I forgot what I was going to say. What were you just talking about?
Having sex with strange alien people?
Right. So in order to use a control room, it has to be a certain set, it has to be an entire soul group that has certain credentials to be here. Right? So basically, beings with certain types of DNA all have to be in this one room to operate it. And the way it's checked is by a telepathic AI. Checks to see if you are all in agreement to make these changes. And he also brought up the thing about the panel where you could check race. If you mix two DNAs together, it would show you a three-dimensional image of what the offspring would look like. It was their lab where they could do like genetic. It was basically CRISPR from 30,000 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
So wait. So he was talking about, so in order to gain control of all the control rooms more easily, the bad guys came down here and fucked everything they could to have as much offspring as they could that had their DNA, so they could pull anyone off the street and get them to agree to it, and they'd be part of their soul group because they were in that lineage, because that's what constitutes soul group. See what I mean? So that could be one reason why there was rampaging, raping going on. Sorry.
Well,
go
and
ahead.
that would also explain, Jerry, the maybe a potential origin for some of these bloodline Illuminati theories, right?
Yes.
I mean, it might not be about shape-shifting reptilians. It might be about preserving that sort of a lineage.
Well,
where
Bartzis has said, I'm sorry, Bartzis has said this a few times, that there were 12 groups of DNA put here, 12 different tribes, the 12 tribes of Dan, whatever. And that was the first set of peoples that were put down here. So they were the 12 bloodline.
And at the same time, it could all just be mystical, magical stuff. You know what I mean? Everyone's got an explanation for the origins, right, including the Mormons and the Christians and the Muslims and the ancient people as well.
Okay. Magic technology. Okay. We can hack this system. Right, Jerry?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
You can.
You don't think
enough people?
I mean, Gordon White speaks about it.
It's true. You can. You can.
We can hack whatever the fuck it is.
But only for your own personal bubble.
No.
But we're not talking about that right now.
Okay, so if I'm hacking my bubble, and you're hacking your bubble, and Chanter's hacking his bubble.
You ever really look at your bubble, man?
If everybody's hacking their bubble, that makes a big fucking bubble.
Yeah.
And
right?
so
I agree.
And so what would be the goal of collectively hacking our bubbles? What are we trying to accomplish there?
I don't know.
If you have to ask.
I think that technology dude,
only one way to find out. We're doing this.
That technology is for us to discover and to fucking use. And in 200 years, when everybody in the world realizes that your mind is what controls everything, we will have succeeded.
Or that's a total psyop too.
Well, here's
maybe.
But basically, when you get a guy like Bartzis,
who the fuck knows anything? Well, how do you know psyop?
Well, what's happening is that what I think about
the danger. Yeah, that's the danger of it. Sorry, Chanter, go ahead.
No. It's like this. The New Age storytelling is basically very similar to the storytelling of religions in the past. What's very interesting to me is, why does a guy like Andrew Bartzis get accepted as an authority, where he's able to say things that have, just like the stories of religions of the past, has absolutely no, ability to be verified. You just simply have to take his word for it. But I know that we live in a world where he simply says this stuff, and then within, a month or 2 months, Simon Parks has picked up the information. And when it comes to Bartzis, we have to remember that there was a brain trust. It was Bartzis was in communications with the guy that channels Tolek, was in communication with Simon Parks, was in communication with Alex Collier. Oh. They had a grand meeting that was broadcast on Wolf Spirit Radio. Maybe it had to be 3 years ago at this point, where they were all joking, and it was clear that they were all joking from the point of view and perspective that they had all experienced past lives together. I don't know if Andrew Bartzis was there, but I know for a fact that it was Simon Parks, Alex Collier, and Tolek. And at one point,
Bartzis wasn't there.
He wasn't there? Okay. And at one point, Alex Collier starts joking with Simon Parks, and they start basically making a Star Trek reference where they say, if we had to do it all over again, we wouldn't wear the red shirts. Basically acknowledging the fact that they had already built in with each other a fantasy about past live experiences. And I guess you have to assume that JP would have been invited to the party as well from Wolf Spirit Radio.
Well, he runs Wolf. Very interesting. He is Wolf Spirit.
He is Wolf Spirit Radio. And he does his own channeling too. which has got a lot of this stuff. But, it's so funny. People call in. Like, I know that, I talked through Jerry Cthulhu. I think we had that one girl on who was on one of my Google Hangouts, and she did a past life regression with Andrew Bartes where he was telling her all sorts of stuff about her past existences and stuff.
What the fuck? That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Wait. Was it Vicky?
It might have. It was an Australian gal
that was
or
Vicky.
New Zealand. Okay, yeah. Very fascinating interview, but she was just basically taking what he was saying. But a lot of what she was saying she was agreeing with. And I've had my own, it's like when I did that past life regression with Hank Jones.
That's a psyop.
Well, who knows? I mean, look. So what is this information? So when I did it with Hank Jones, basically I came out and I could tell you this. I had actual legitimate visions of things that I was seeing with clarity, as if the same form of clarity that you see a dream. Actual audio visual stimulation. I was seeing actual stuff. And so the question is, where does it come from?
Chanter.
Was it my imagine? Hold on, let me just complete the thought before then I'll exchange.
Don't let me forget. I have to tell you something about what you're saying.
I won't let you forget. I promise.
You had complete visions. It was like a dream.
So the question is this: is that so? Then I came out the back end, and it's what was I seeing? What was the import of what I was seeing, and what was the value? Was it just like going to a psychiatrist or a psychoanalyst with your dreams and saying, hey, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and maybe the Queen Mother alien was some repressed representation of your inability to talk to your own mom, whatever the case may be. When I talk, if you look at the story of Simon Parks, to me, it's very clear that he's telling you dramatic, huge amounts of truth about his family unit, about what it was like growing up, about how he experiences reality, about what he wants, what he needs, and all that stuff. But then it gets turned into actual tales of the galactic history. And the same thing with Bartes. He's saying amazing amounts of stuff, but my fear about it is that when people interact with, say, the concept of Jesus Christ, there are people that are born again Christians who are gay, and they're past the conflict of whatever it says in Leviticus. They're past that. They don't get banged up about it. They don't feel like they're being hypocrites. They don't feel like it's a contradiction. They're there at their church doing their thing, and they're fine with it. And then there's other people who think about Jesus Christ, and they're like, oh my God, he's going to get me. You know what I mean? Because I'm gay, or because I have this feeling or that feeling, or because I did this, that, the other thing. And so what is the positive religion? And a lot of my fears with this stuff is that when it gets put into, it's beautiful to hear these guys talk about galactic history. I could listen to Andrew Bartes or Adronis, or
I can't listen to him anymore.
Gautier, you know what I mean, who channels, Treb and all this stuff. I could listen to those guys for hours, but I feel like it gets into some dangerous territory when people accept it as that's the reality of the galactic history. That's what happened. There was the Orion Wars.
His job.
Actually took place. Yeah, I guess so. Everyone's got a job to do, right?
Why is the Orion Wars so prevalent? Why is it so prevalent a story? Yeah. Why do you think it is? Could it be from a past trauma or something in the other civilization? Oh, that reminds me too. Also, maybe if we fuck things up here, we split off a timeline and make a copy of ourselves, and maybe that's what we are, like a couple copies down because we fucked up so many times.
So we're not as skill deficient, adept. We're kind of watered down or dirtied DNA, dirtied output.
Basically, well,
I have a question.
What?
So, do any of you dream that you're somebody else?
No, I don't think so. I think I see myself in various other incarnations, but it's always me.
I'll give an example of one of these things that I have. So, dude, I was totally a
Hi.
I was a soldier, I think. I had like a tan uniform on that was a soldier-ish thing. And I was in a swamp. And I was swimming in this water. And there was this little girl with this brown curly hair, like under the water. She was under the water. Her hair was like all over. and I knew it was my daughter. Now I'm dreaming, but I'm like this dude trying to save my daughter in the swamp, and I'm under the water trying to get to her, and all I can do is see her like brown curly hair like going like this and sinking, and my hat, I could feel my hat like off my head, and feeling like pain of knowing my daughter's. And I dream this type of shit all the time. I'm always somebody else. Like if I'm me, I dream sometimes I'm me, but most of the time I dream that I'm other people, or like I'm watching me from like a distance. Does that happen to anybody else?
Not, I mean, I've definitely had dreams where I've been in other life situations that are not the life situation that I'm currently in, but I've always been.
Are you like someone else?
Well, could I take a swing at just a little dream interpretation for you?
Yeah.
Well, number one is that if you were seeing yourself or envisioning yourself as a man and you were trying to save this woman, this daughter, a little girl, right? Well, you're female. It could be that you're trying to save some aspect of yourself, like you're trying to reconnect with, like, the so-called, the inner child.
But it was like I could see the whole like thing, like, the whole area, the whole swamp, the whole inside the swamp, her body, my body,
the still undrained swamp, I might add.
So you're seeing you're seeing the narrative. You're seeing a vision of two individuals.
I'm seeing basically like a father trying to save his daughter, and it's not working.
So, do you mind if I ask you about if you had an okay relationship with your father?
Did I have a what?
An okay relationship with your father?
No, I did not.
You did not. Well, maybe it's somehow you're sensing that you're taking a look at that vision, and to know that there's pieces of ourselves that are in our parents, and you might be seeing something. You know what you could be seeing is you could be understanding. You're kind of coming to terms, or maybe seeing an aspect of your father, for better or for worse, may have been trying to, or there might have been an aspect or a part of him that wanted to make that connection, and it might have not. It might have been not come together.
But could I have a past life or someone else's life?
So whether it's a past life or not, right? It doesn't really matter, because if past life exists, your timelines are not just this life. It could be multiple lives, but still it's your lifeline. It's your timeline.
But maybe it's not, though. Maybe it's not. Maybe I totally was like zooming in on somebody else's.
It could be that, but more likely than not is that you're seeing something in your dreams that are important to you. Like you were saying before, our dreams talk to us. Our dreams tell us things, right? So, and it's also, I think that it's like the part of the aspect of seeing what things mean. I think sometimes people like the whole notion of turning these things into the Orion Council and the Orion Wars, because as hard as it is to believe, because even though the Orion conflict, like a conflict between the Palladians, the Arcturians, and the Reptoids, right? That's bigger, and there'd be technically more trauma there. But in ways, dealing with that
didn't even fucking exist.
Well, no. But what I'm saying is that I'm just saying that for some people, maybe thinking about trauma in that externalized fashion happening in a past life is easier to deal with and to digest than deal with the actual trauma that they experienced in their existence. It's much more likely that what you're dealing with in your present timeline than having a vision of an external timeline, or that information from an external timeline could be an aspect of what you're trying to figure out now. Right?
Right.
Because the swamp is a very embryonic place. You know what I mean? So you're seeing the girl in the water. So it could be, can I ask you, is this okay if I ask you this question?
Anything.
Okay. Did the stuff that happened with the dad, did it kind of get off kilter when you were still in the womb?
Explain, go further.
Like,
elaborate.
Like the problems with your father, did they play themselves out after you were born, or do you think that it kind of started before you were?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying that if you're seeing externally this dialogue between a man trying to save a daughter, then maybe you're also coming to understand that your father, for better or for worse, he might have really wanted to been the relationship to have been perfect. He might have been trying to make that connection, and he just might not have been able to do it.
But that's just one example, dude. I am never me.
Hold on.
Always somebody else. Like,
let me jump in there.
Sure.
Like, I'm like watching a movie. Sometimes I'm me, and I'm like flying. Like, I can jump. I never can fly. I can jump really fucking high.
And to take CW's a general sort of analysis, which I think is awesome.
It is. It's great.
And just kind of look at the theme. The theme is that your dreams, you're never you. Right?
Right.
Sometimes I am. Most of the times I am not.
So most of the time you're not yourself in your dreams. And
normally it's like I'm watching. It's so fucking weird. Like I'm watching other people, but I feel like I'm people, but I'm not those people.
So if you were, let's say, traveling on the astral realm and spying on people, for example, as an espionage agent in an astral sense, wouldn't there be, I guess, like a spiritual consequence of that?
Yeah.
So it may be that you are spying on these other people and living their lives and that sort of thing.
So do you think I could be like tapping into like other people's dreams or other people's lives, or like what?
Well, I would defer to CW on that one. He's a lot more experienced at this kind of thing than I am. But I'm just saying that the one common theme that I'm hearing is that you, most of the time in your dream, you're somebody else. So would that indicate something about, I don't know, personal growth? Like I need to find out who I am because I'm always somebody else.
Totally possible.
You never know. And it might be multiple reasons.
If you want to go deeper, like maybe I'm
balls
like
deep,
totally tapping into somebody else's ether. Like I'm totally in somebody else's astral.
Right, exactly.
Chanter, tell me.
I don't know what I would think, though. I think that rather than do the jump to see that if you were tapping into other people's dreams, I would say that you're probably having these dreams for the reason that people have these dreams. These are expressions of internal dialogues that you need to look at.
But why am I fucking tapping into other people's dreams?
I don't think you're probably tapping into other people's dreams. I think that you're having dreams that the dreams, your perception is an important. When you're thinking about dream interpretation, you need to look at all the data that you can take back from the dream, your perception, where you are subjectively in it, who you're seeing, the visions, the locations. And so when
the backdrop people, I don't know any of these people, like Dolores, that lady.
I don't believe that there's backdrop people, but what I'm saying is that for your dreams are probably they're probably your dreams, and they probably, to interpret them, you need to think about what these stories mean to you. Like, what is the story? What is the story about the soldier in the swamp trying to save the young girl? What is that about? What does that mean? Like, it's the concept of archetypes. You don't need to get back down to whether or not this guy's name is John Smith and he was from Mississippi or he was born on August 31st, 1947. No, I
feel like it was old.
Right.
Like, I feel like it was in a different country.
Right.
Like,
I don't. So what I'm saying to you is that don't worry about where the stuff lines up factually on a map in the on the world map or the globe in your living room. Worry about what these stories are saying to you. Like, what do you think that story is about? What do you think it represents? You got a swamp, you've got a soldier, and he's trying to save a little girl who's under the water. What does that mean? You're first off the top of your head.
I, honest to God, don't fucking know. All I know is that I'm watching it, but I'm also him. Like, I can see her.
Are you also her, but you feel more identified with him than you do with her?
I'm more identified with him.
You're more identified with him.
Her.
Okay. than her.
So you're probably right about the father thing. But why is it?
He sounds right.
But why is it foreign? Like, I feel like
because well, no. Because the thing about it, the thing about it being foreign might just be, you're when your subconscious is putting together the message, it's going really quick, and so it's going to pick up different pieces, and some things are going to be important, and some things are just going to be filled in. So it might not have time to reach for the American GI uniform, right? So it might pick up the uniform that you just saw in a movie, 10 minutes before you went to bed, or the movie that you just saw, or the recent Afghanistan conflict, that the soldiers are wearing khakis. I don't think the uniform matters. What really matters only is that you have a soldier fighting, and also it's the whole concept. For our generation, the central touchstone war is the Vietnam conflict, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's that could just be it. So the what I really see is I see a womb. I see the girl. The girl doesn't seem panicked, right? She's not panicked. She's not freaking out that she's under the water.
No, she's just drowning, but not.
But she's okay with it. She's not panicking.
Just like slowly, like her eyes are closed and her hair, brown curly hair, is just under this green water.
So the water is nature. She's fine with that, but there's something. He's in conflict. Now, also think about this: his outfit is tan, which is out of place for the jungle. If he was trying to be camouflaged in a jungle like a soldier would want to be, he wouldn't want to be in tan. So she's okay.
Navy, though.
So I think it has to do
like that navy, like hat.
Right. I think it has something to do with the masculine energy not being able to accept and understand. And it could be you. You have aspects of the masculine in you, as I have aspects of the feminine in me. Right. So it might be an aspect of kind of one of your male essence, or part of your male persona, or the male aspect of your personality, interpreting, not being able to deal with what the female aspect of you is accepting. Because this girl she's young, but she's in her environment. She's not drowning. Like a fetus in water, a fetus in embryonic fluid is not drowning.
Yeah,
it's sustained. It's alive. Right. And the jungle is alive, but he's feeling in conflict with it. He's out of place, and therefore he's feeling like he has to save something that maybe doesn't need to be saved. So I think all these things are aspects of you. I think the jungle is you, the girl is you, and the guy's you. And so you just got to look at the fact that he's out of place, and he's feeling conflict, right? He's in conflict. But the other thing is, so there's an aspect of you that's in conflict with the natural way of things. There's a part of you that knows that what's happening, the mystery as it unfolds, is okay. What appears to be a dangerous situation, drowning, is really not drowning. It's really just being, a return to the womb, or it's really just being at peace. But there's another aspect of you that can't accept it, that's in conflict, and is then interpreting conflict where conflict doesn't exist. You're welcome.
I think that is a perfect explanation.
And you're Vanessa.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are many dreams like that. Chanter, you have got to. Dude, I have a very, very, very detailed dream journal. It's all right. I'm looking through it. I'm trying to find one. Look, that's what I'm trying to do. I need some.
What if your phone was wiped out?
In my Bacardi.
What if your phone was wiped out? Then you would lose all your dreams.
Can I read
you should, Vanessa. You should write your dreams down in pen and paper. What if your phone? What if your
my phone? Because you're not supposed to move.
But what if your phone wipes out? But after you write it down. Write it down.
Right when you open your eyes, you write it down.
Yeah, but most people would agree that you need to write it down.
You can't move, because as soon as you move, you lose it.
No, you can move.
I take out my phone and I start typing.
You can move. Trust me. Let me tell you something. People have been keeping dream journals from time immemorable, way before smartphones. You can move. You grab a pen and paper, you leave it on the side, and when you wake up, you write down what you can. It's free form. I agree. I agree with Fail that you should write it down hard in paper.
What all I was gonna say was that
is that failed?
Yes, it's me. But if it works for you to put it on your phone, fine. But once it's on your phone, write it down from your phone so you don't lose it.
I put it in the document. Type it out.
Good. Because if you lose it, then it's over and gone.
Okay, can I read you guys this weird one about the ocean?
Quickly, then we're getting back to our discussion, which doesn't include dreams.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, controller.
It's not controller. Okay. It's what the show's about. You kind of keep throwing us off topic.
Fine.
Well, people are leaving.
I'm gonna go get some orange juice, y'all.
Okay. Read your dream. Read your dream and be done. Go ahead.
Or we could just say that we went through one dream. There's going to be more opportunities to talk at later occasions, Vanessa. So we could do dream interpretation some other time.
Totally.
And now we could go back to.
We could just do a dream one where Chanter just like. Totally...
Well, Vanessa, let me tell you this. Here's what we could do. I'm having a hangout tomorrow night. I know that Tom Effluent for you is going to be there with me. There's another guy, David Lux, who's going to be with me. Z is going to be with us, and then you're more than invited as well. You can come too.
Z, like Daisy.
Xenix Asker, the Z,
Jerry,
the famous Z, Jerry Z.
What? Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, you're invited.
So
I'll send you the link.
About my fucking
Not a problem. From the get-go, from Jump Street, we can get
I'll
you.
be back, guys.
All right.
Not a problem.
You guys up on conversation.
Thanks.
Shut up, Jerry. I'll be right back. I love you,
Suzanne.
Jerry.
How you doing? Long time no see. Fail. Very pleased to meet you.
Dude.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Hey.
Mom.
What?
Hi, V. How are you?
So you were talking about Hank and guys, take it offline. You were talking about Hank and the Saturn.
Back.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know. Is that QHHT what he did, or is it something else? Or
so what? Okay, so part of the reason that he called himself a member of the Renegade Family of Light was that the great thing about Hank, and he exists. He's still very much alive.
He is?
Absolutely.
He didn't die?
Well, he left this planet. He disappeared from planet Earth. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, I consider him still being very much alive.
I got you.
So his specific technique was based on QHHT. Gotcha. But he's a rebel and he's a renegade, and anybody who knew him, and there were plenty of people who knew him. He used to fight with me sometimes. He fought, he could be surly, but for the most part, what he did was he took the QHHT stuff, but he did want to, I think, absolutely wanted it to be a little bit more democratized, wanted it to be less, secret. And he wanted to respect the QHHT community and do things a little bit differently because they thought he was a little bit different. He definitely had, if you go to the QHHT forums that he used to participate in, there was definitely, some fights with, people, the way he would do things, what he would allow people to do in session, you know what I mean? And stuff. But it was definitely, he started off as a student of many different schools of esoteric thought, but he definitely did get his licensing in QHHT, but ended up doing something a little bit different. So what I experienced was a variation on QHHT, I think.
So did he pull you into some kind of construct which he made, or did he just have you visualize something and somehow enhanced it? I mean, was it in your head or were you in his head?
Well, that's that's an interesting question. Also, part of what I dealt with him when we were working together, and one of the things that I was trying to resolve for myself was this. I don't think I interpreted it properly until he passed to the other side. And I still feel as though I talked to him today. But before he passed the other side, it was definitely, I had this thing where I had a real hang up with him always asking people when he was in session who he was. And there was a lot of questions about him and his interactions and relationship with the person who was in session. And I thought that that was kind of, I had a hang up with the possibility that that was pushy or in some way controlling or in some way programming. Not consciously. I don't think that if even if it was
guided,
those things,
probably.
Yeah. So what I interpret and understand it as now is, it wasn't that he was asking people who he was because he thought he was someone special. It's because that he thought that everybody was interconnected and always, in every past life and incarnation, on Saturn, 10,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago, in Atlantis, in the future, as Essassani, as Palladians, everybody's interconnected. So when he asks me who he is, it's that he's the other person in the shared mental space. And so therefore it's appropriate for him to focus the question on him. But the next step of that line of inquiry involves an understanding and a knowledge that we're all intimately connected. And he could just as easily, and at times he would ask me questions, and it would be trying to get me to understand that I'm not in conflict with David Wilcock, right? Corey Good is not my enemy. That we're all on the grand, we're all in the Orion Council together. We're all in the year 5000 together, right? We're all there.
Probably.
Kind of. Yeah, probably. So, that was that. But it started off with a guided meditation.
But that's because you and I are both service to others.
Of course, right? More than oh, totally. It's not that I'm not service to others. It's just that I suck at it. You know what I mean? I got a D- in service to others.
No, you're good at it.
And you know what? The other thing is this, is that everybody's got a part to play. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got a part to play. And if you look at the concept of soul contracts, there's no way that anything that I do to David Wilcox, it's not part of his soul contract that he signed on to experience on this planet Earth, right? We all agree to experience this lifetime. And my personal take on the soul contract is this, is that just like the concept of enlightenment, or just like the concept of heaven, right? All of these stories are all about making peace with life. If you get sexually assaulted, you could get all banged up about that. But if you can understand that you signed a soul contract where you were working out your karma with this other person, whether you use the language of the Bhagavad Gita or whether you use the modern language of soul contracts on the Orion Council, you're still creating a construct, an environment where this situation that's unhandleable is handleable and understood not just as an abstraction, but is understood as a good. I had to experience this. Because I experienced this, I grew as a person. I learned to get over that. I was working off negative karma. Now that negative karma is burned off. And that the atheist and the skeptic can look and say, that's bullshit mind games. That's unhealthy for this reason or that reason. But the atheist and the agnostic have not yet put forward another role model other than just deal with it, accept it. It's all fucked up, but it happened. And even they're going to have their own construction, because they're going to say, okay, but you got to make peace with it. You got to digest it. You got to learn how to move forward and live on. And in doing that, you're going to end up doing the same thing that the Catholic is going to understand by, bad things happen to good people, but God works in mysterious ways. Or the Dalai Lama. I use this example all the time. The Dalai Lama was asked after Katrina happened, one of the tragedies that happened during Katrina was that many babies died. They drowned in the hospital. They drowned in the nursery. And they asked the Dalai Lama, how do you explain this as a religious leader? And he said, look, it's going to be cold comfort, and a lot of people are not going to understand. But the only way that I can understand it as a Buddhist is through the notion of karma, that for whatever reason, it was the past life experiences, their past activities, their past actions led to this point. And the classic Buddhist explanation for a stillborn baby or for a baby that dies shortly after they're born is to say to the mother and father, don't worry, you're blessed, you're blessed, you're blessed, because don't you see that the universe used you? This soul just had a little bit left to digest, just a little bit. They only had to do this much before they had to move on. And don't you see that because they died as a baby, they didn't commit any sins, they didn't steal, they didn't rape, they didn't murder, they didn't assault, they didn't even insult anybody. All they gave you was the joy of being a parent for 1 month, 2 months, a year, whatever the case may be. So all they clearly they went to with Amitabha Buddha. They've attained moksha. They just had one last thing to do. And the skeptic, the Bill Maher's of the world, will go, just babies died. And it's like, hey, man, we got to find some way to live. You got to find some way to make sense and make it understand. So if you're spinning yourself a pretty little yarn, spin it. Because babies die. You know what I mean? Babies die.
4 out of 5 dentists agree that 10 out of 10 people die.
That's it.
Yeah, and I mean somebody's own personal coping style. It's like you know, what are you going to say if they're coping with it by saying that they're resolved some kind of Orion Pleiadian conflict from 14,000 years ago, or they're saying that, you know, this life has already fulfilled its potential and we'll catch you the next time around. I mean, you know, that's why I like to draw the line with experiencers. It's like, okay, cool. You know, it's like that helps you. Why would anyone want to get in the way and tell you, no, that's wrong? You're not allowed to think that way, cope that way, or feel that way, you know? And we live in an increasingly aggressive culture because everything's now 120 characters, you know? And so it's like, we don't have time to get in depth and to go into details and dig deep on things. And so everybody wants, like, you know, the $4 answer, you know, and it's like, let's take some time and figure this thing out. And if a skeptic wants to be like, it's all BS, great, but don't put that stuff on other people, dude. You know, and that is the problem with authority, right? Authority tells you this is what you have to believe, this is what you have to do, this is how you have to cope. You know, so I'm digging it, CW. I like the way that you've detailed that out.
Thanks, man. I mean, and that's the thing, like talking about Andrew Barty. So if you get something out of that explanation of the soul contract, that's fine. Where it gets fucked up is just like any religion can get fucked up, is when the person gets more money from you, or you start thinking to yourself like, oh, I got to do this, or I got to do that, or I got to get my chakra removed, or I got to, you know what I mean? They get screwed up by the story, you know, or panicked by it or something. And also the other thing, the thing that sucks ass is that when people, like certain people who need to turn these fictional mythical narratives into fact, you know, like the soul contract is a fact, and there's reptoids, and they get you in the soul cage, and they're going to experiment on you, and this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and all this new age stuff is really just the new cage, and all religion's a lie, and this, that, and the other thing. It turns into this kind of murder show of like fighting, like, and that's like it's and just like zealotry in all its forms. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the Mormons can be a beautiful people having a beautiful time, or they can turn on people, you know what I mean, and start demanding blood atonement. Same thing with Islam, same thing with anything.
That's right. You know, it can quickly get away, you know, the same way you were talking about your experience with Hank, and like there's that kind of injection of the other, you know, like, what do I, you know, it's like that same process happens at a macro level too, a larger level.
Right. And then the other thing is this, is that when I came out of the experience, it's this. Okay, so the information that we gathered, is that like dream information that's food for thought? Or like, you know, like Vanessa was suggesting, is she seeing a past life experience, or is it a dream with subjective and metaphorical meaning? And that's a real question. And my attitude about it is I think it just feels intuitively more natural to know and understand that this stuff is food for thought. It doesn't mean that I have to worry about actually whether or not I had a life on Saturn, which is the thing that happens with a lot of the QHHT practitioners, like talking about the event. A lot of the new event stuff that we're getting all comes out of QHHT practitioners. who are listening to people say these things, and these people are describing these things. And I just saw one today where some gal was having a QHHT experience or reading, and she was saying all these very positive things about Trump, that he's of the light, that he's, doing this and that. And my take on it is, think about what the stories are for you. Don't worry about whether or not you were actually a Civil War soldier, because the likelihood is you're probably not a Civil War soldier. The fact that you saw yourself that way, is really probably the story. Do you know what I mean? Is really probably more it's like it's like that. It's like, but people come back and they're like, did you know that I lived a life on Saturn and me and Hank Jones were partying on Saturn? No, it's that Saturn was the backdrop for the story of how me and his energy were interacting at that point, or what the story about stories is. You know what I mean? Or
a way you can comprehend the interaction of the energies.
Right. Yeah. And look, our brains are not encased in rubber. Our skulls are not made out of rubber. My thoughts work on electricity. Your thoughts work on electricity. You know what I mean? So people interact and energies interact.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting stuff. What did I want to? There's this new show on Stars called Counterpart with J.K. Simmons. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
It finished the first season. It's a story in the near future-ish, I'm not really sure, where this guy works for the UN. He's got a weird job. He doesn't understand what he does. And one day he's pulled into a meeting where he meets an identical twin and learns that there is an alternate world because of some kind of experiment or explosion or something. The world duplicated itself and there's a crossing point, and it's right part of the UN, or the UN's annexed it, so now the UN controls who goes across and nobody knows about it. It's very interesting, and I have a lot of thoughts about it, but if you haven't seen it, I'll wait till you watch it, because
there's a lot of interesting TV that I'm supposed to catch up on. I'm going to have a hard time catching up on now that I don't smoke or drink. I look at it's honestly, I'm waiting for Westworld to come back, because I think it's got a fighting chance of me being able to still watch it
tomorrow. I think,
not messed up. Yeah, I know. Oh, really? And Ancient Aliens is coming back too.
That I don't watch.
Hey, why not? Right? Crazy. Talk about fact becoming fiction. But a lot of these shows, I've got a backlog of all these shows that I'm supposed to watch. Like I'm supposed to watch OA. I'm supposed to finish up the last 2 seasons of Black Mirror. I'm supposed to watch all these things, but I can't imagine. I tried to watch some of them. I'm just like, now that I'm sober, I'm like, I can't just sit there watching a 2-dimensional image on a screen anymore. It's not going to lead me to a better place. I just have to. The good thing is I'm reading more books. The bad part is my Netflix queue is just hemorrhaging.
Yeah,
hemorrhaging.
It's tough, but there's some stuff that's real interesting. That's like Altered Carbon on Netflix is really interesting.
So, let's talk about synchronicities, Mario. He just put in Altered Carbon into literally, as you said, Altered Carbon. He said Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon.
If I'm lying, I'm dying. Mario Heat. Awesome. As you said, Altered Carbon. He said that's another show I'm supposed to start.
Why is he?
Why haven't you?
Because, like I said, because I'm watching less TV. I'm like 60 whatever days sober from marijuana and alcohol. When I used to just drink and smoke all the time, I was watching tons of TV, and I'd trip out on all these TVs. I'd go into them in all this detail, and I'd have all these like elaborate thought processes. But now that I'm not in that way, when I try to watch those TV shows, it's just too much of a passive experience for me. I immediately start feeling like I need to get high or drunk. And like I said, the good thing is when I've been drinking and drugging too much for about 18 years. Prior to that, I used to read like a machine. I used to finish about 2 books a week. And when I started getting high and drinking all the time, I stopped and I started watching a ton of TV and movies. And just stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like so for example, like when I started getting sober, I went right to my Netflix queue and all like the women in prison and the zombie bullshit and the zombie beavers and all that stuff. I just took it right out. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch I'm not gonna watch this shit. I'm never gonna watch this shit. There's no point. The only point in watching that shit was because I was like out of my mind. Do you know what I mean?
Huh.
Like those people that watch every single horror movie under the sun. Like not every single horror movie is a good horror movie worth watching. A lot of it is just like, oh man, like the people that are into Z grade movies. Like I was into Z grade movies when you used to go down to the video store and there was like X number of Z grade movies that you could see on
Let's
VHS.
rent Chud again.
Let's rent Chud again. And then you saw those movies. That's like, but now with like Netflix and streaming and YouTube, if you get into that world and decide you're going to want to finish all those things, that's like thousands and thousands of hours of bad bullshit.
It's a waste of
time.
It's
just wasted time.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And it's like, and the thing that's so crazy is that you look at a show like Black Mirror, people are like, I like watch it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, why am I watching it? I could just trip out on the fact that that's real life. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Totally.
Congratulations on your 60.
That's it.
Black Mirror is fucked up.
Black Mirror
fucked up because it's so close to what reality is.
It really is.
Technology.
It's the bleeding edge.
Yeah, it's just like if we're not careful, that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's like right there, right at the cutting edge of what technology could offer us. It's insane.
Is it, or is it a warning, or is it like you've opted into this?
Honestly, when they talk about the social media aspect of it, I think that's like you guys all done fucked up. Yeah.
No, I mean some of it's scary. Some of it can be real scary. It's so close to life. And that's
sorry. Yeah. My coworkers brought up one episode called Metalhead, where they were robbing a warehouse and a robot dog chased them down, like off the property, even till they died. Basically, this thing will hunt you down.
Right.
Dang. And they're like, it was terrifying, and it was all about AI and stuff. And I watched it. I'm like, it's not about AI. It's about a fucking robot dog that's badly programmed. You know.
Well, and it's funny because the one that scared the crap out of me was definitely the one that was about like the social policies of like the woman whose life basically went to shit because through a series of unfortunate events, her social standing was -1, like disliked to the point where she was basically off the grid.
Right, which China's doing now.
China's doing that now, and they want to do that in America too. There are already programs in America that will apps that will like help you. It's like it's these
wrong.
mindfulness apps that really aren't mindfulness apps. They're control apps. They basically tell you like, this is the way you should think about things. This is what you should be doing. You should be going to bed at this time.
You're
be a good
fucking
little boy.
retard if you buy into that shit.
It's craziness.
Whatever.
But see, the thing about social contracts is this is what the origin of the discontent who turns into the sovereign citizen. Right? When you're born in America or China, wherever you're born is an accident of fate. But all of a sudden you wake up and you're like subject to the United States Constitution as if it's a contract that you signed, the quote unquote social contract.
Right.
You didn't sign up for that contract. No one asked you. And so if you look at the whole point, the notion of the sovereign individual, what these people are basically arguing is that they're basically arguing that the natural laws of the universe are the only laws that apply to them because those are the only laws that they see as truly being sacrosanct and true. But the fact that, unfortunately, the unfortunate thing is this, is that you can't, because by their definition, if you think about their logic, you would have to wait till every single time a child was born, everyone would have to pause and say, okay, nobody do anything until this kid is old enough that we could basically say to him, the communists can come meet him and the libertarian can come meet him and the capitalist can come meet him and all make a sales pitch to the kid about how things should be. And the kid's going to be like, communism sounds good. Then everyone's going to be like, we got another vote for communism. Right. But in the meantime, 1,000 other kids have been born.
Right. That's best case scenario. But worst case scenario, too, is you drop your kid in front of a TV and give no parenting at all or no guidance.
But someone's going to raise him. That's the person that's going to raise him is the TV, right?
Well, that's
it's really going to become an American.
And the Nazis early.
But check this out. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about the sovereign citizen and what we were talking about with this whole concept of this don't buy into it. If 1,000 people around you have bought into a system that says we're all going to interact with each other on Facebook and the invitation is going to go out on Facebook, and we're going to maintain our social connections through Facebook, and you say, I'm not participating in that shit, that's great. But it's like the same thing with a credit score. There are plenty of people who said to themselves, I'm not going to get a credit card. I see what it did to my generation. I see what it did to my brothers and sisters. I see what it did to my friends in high school. I'm not getting a credit card. Then they're 35 and they want to buy a house. And the mortgage company turns to them and say, you don't exist to us. You have, quote unquote, no credit history.
I don't know
that happens.
They kind of dish out credit to no credit's better than bad credit.
Do you know what? So no credit's better than you would think that, but unfortunately, well, you know what? I'll tell you this. I've had scenarios in my life where my decision to, quote unquote, have no credit has literally been problematic. And it can be problematic for certain people in certain situations. But I mean, who's to know? But the point is this: is that if the system turns over to a world where you are getting pluses and minuses, and there are social contract credits, and you can be a good citizen or a bad citizen, whether you want to buy into it or not, if that's the name of the game, that's the name of the game. If you sit down on the table and you want to play Dungeons and Dragons, but everyone's playing Parcheesi, hey man.
They go into their own Zoom room. That's what just happened.
Go into your own Zoom room, right?
That's where Grim and James went.
I know some sovereign citizens.
Oh God.
Yeah. They're not wrong, right? But it's just not practical. You have to live in a fucked up kind of state, and that's not cool.
Well, it's like the definition. Like, what is the definition of right and wrong? So, for example, some of these sovereign citizens will go around. They'll have huge lectures where they're telling people all this advice about how to interact with the cops, what the cop can or can't do. And really what they're saying is they're not giving practical advice. They're talking about the way things should be.
Right.
Yep.
And so if you want to look online, there's 1,003 videos where there are these people who are like, I just got pulled over by the cops.
Tell them the cops, off.
Yeah, they don't even tell them that we all know the story. We all follow the scene to know. I don't consent to this stop. I don't consent to this. I'm a free man on the land. You know what I mean? Next question, sir. I do not have a driver's license. I'm not required to have a driver's license under the Plessy versus Ferguson ×2 -11 to the 13th degree. And then how does the video always end? With the cop breaking the dude's window and another brother goes to jail because Hakeem Bey, Sukasum Bey, some other Tariq Bey, whoever, told them that they didn't need to do this. How about this? Winston Shroud is going to jail. He keeps on doing this dance of being on here. He's not telling anyone that he's going to jail. He's still giving people the advice that's going to land his ass in jail.
I know. I saw him on Metters recently, I think.
Recently. He's still out here, and he thinks that he's pulled out some, and if he's not in jail, people need to be wary because then that means he made some sort of fucking deal.
Right. Yeah. Right. Sean David Morton
in jail, still lying. He's still lying. He was on. He appeared on Wolf Spirit Radio where he was telling this bullshit story about how he's like, I was in jail and they started beating the crap out of this kid just because he was having an epileptic fit. And I kept on telling to the warden. The warden was like, "Get your hands off of him. You're not a medical professional." He's like, "The kid's having an epileptic fit. Someone's got to save him. Won't you save him?" They said, "We're not licensed to touch him, and you got to not touch him either." I'm like, sitting there going, Sean David Morton, you're not going to be paroled because he's on Wolf Spirit Radio, and literally every 5 seconds, there's the voice that goes over, "This call is coming from a federal penitentiary."
Right, I know.
Please press 1 to continue.
And meanwhile, I know that I spoke to him on 1 or 2 occasions, and I know that other people have spoken to him too. And he kept on saying to me that he wasn't using sovereign citizen technology. He wasn't using sovereign citizen wisdom. But I would listen to he was.
He might be, but I mean, this thing was with the SEC, basically security fraud.
Yeah, because he thought that he could just write whatever instrument that he could write, because if the bank could do it and they were an artificial citizen, then he could do it as well, or whatever the case may be. And the fact of the matter is that Carl Lentz, all these people make all their money by giving these lectures, telling people about this system works, and then every time it doesn't work, there's some technical default of,
you didn't do that.
On the third filing, you put a period at the end of the judge's name, basically saying that you conceded that he had authority as an honorable court. That's what happened.
You just pleaded into the jurisdiction,
Speaking of judges,
Your social security card is traded. Your social security number is traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and you can draw money on it.
Not your social security, your birth certificate.
It's not true.
It is true. Ask Z tomorrow.
It's not true. It's not.
You can prove it.
It's not true. Listen. I can prove why it's not true. Here's what ends up happening: the series of numbers that makes up your social security number. If you enter it into a Google search, you're going to find all sorts of things. You're going to find it connected to all sorts of things. So basically what ends up happening is that 8 out of 10 people, when they put their social security number into Google, finds it linked to some patent number, some filing, something somewhere, and then all of a sudden they take that as evidentiary proof. Say what you want about it. First of all, if every human being...
Dude, I was teasing. Don't go off. I'm just goofing around.
There you go. No, but that's the other thing. You have guys like Crow777 who took fucking videotape of the moon, and now all of a sudden he's giving people advice about this. Your social security numbers on the New York Stock Exchange, and it just where it comes. A lot of it comes from David Icke. Oh, if you get a piece of correspondence that's got your name all in capital letters, you don't put your name all in capital letters. That's not what your parents taught you when you were in elementary school. That's a different person. That's this artificial voodoo person. That's your designated code in the FEMA camp.
It's your corporation.
It's your corporation, and the United States was canceled in like the United States is a corporation. That is this KKK conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it only exists in DC.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That whole line of thinking is absolutely the product of all these people involved in these conspiracy theories don't know these conspiracy theories come from other places. Like the Freemason conspiracy theory, that all had to do with fear of Catholics at the beginning of the United States of America. That's really what it was. So all these people going, Freemasons rule the government, Freemasons rule the government. That's a conspiracy from 1800 that just kept on being bought and repackaged into the next.
It just so happens that a lot of them are
like
Masons.
The Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Right.
The Jews are doing this. The Jews are doing that. There's plenty of people that have more money than the Jews. There's plenty of Indian families. There's plenty of things. But hey, it doesn't matter because you can just keep on arguing about it and saying you're so woke. You figured it out.
Woke
right?
AF. Woke AF, buddy.
That's it. It's the reptilian shapeshifters in the city of London with the Freemasons on Mars.
With the pipe.
With the pipe.
The crack pipe. And the Jews.
And
the crypto Jews. The crypto Jews.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rothschild Zionists. Don't call me anti-Semitic. I didn't call them the Jews. I called them the Rothschild Zionists.
Globalist is now the term globalist is now considered anti-Semitic.
But the thing is, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Everyone insults the Southern Poverty Law Center for saying that, but we all know that they're onto something because the only reason they started doing that was because they caught on. David Icke was saying all this shit about Rothschild, about the Jews. He was reprinting the Protocols of the Elders of Zion in his books, and so people started calling him out as anti-Semitic. So then he started saying it was Rothschild Zionists. And it's the same thing that Robert David Steele is, who's connected to, let's not forget.
I know, he's all connected.
Mr. Blue Avian, Robert David Steele is always talking about the Rothschilds.
Can I just ask
like
this,
Jerome Corsi.
Okay, no accusations. What if it was the Jews controlling things, that we can't even question it anymore, It's a perfect shield to hide behind. I'm just saying.
It's not a perfect. First of all, it's not a perfect shield to hide behind because it doesn't stop the conversation at all. In
Germany it does.
No. The only thing that stopped in Germany, literally, honestly, is you can't
deny the
do
Holocaust.
The Sieg Heil, you can't deny the Holocaust, and you can't reproduce the swastika. Literally, that's you can't dress up like a Nazi. Yeah, exactly. It's all, exactly. The Hindus are all going there like there are 1,003 Hindu symbols where it's like if you imported that poster of Vishnu into Germany, you'd have a problem.
Right.
You really would.
I know.
So a lot of this stuff is like, it's a perfect. That's how they control it. That's how they control it, and that's how they control it. No offense. It's like I said, it's like the same people talk about the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family, do they have tons of money? Absolutely. Are they the richest family in the world? Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. The Koch brothers have more money than the Rothschilds do. That's a fact.
They're old money, dude. They are old money.
Old money. You know what I mean?
I do.
And They got, and like people talk about the Rothschilds, but then they forget about the Rockefellers. Then they forget about these guys and that guys, the Carnegies, and a lot of, if you want to talk about who really controls America, it's still white Anglo-Saxons. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's still those two families. It's still Rockefellers. It may be, they go, pumped up by the Rothschilds or whoever.
Or they talk about Israel, and they say it's like, the problem that it's not that there's not an intimate connection between Israel and the United States of America. It's like, who do you think really holds the power? Israel is supported by the United States and British governments because they are a beachhead in that Middle Eastern theater where the oil is. That's what it's about. And then you do have Americans who are legitimately supporting of Israel and give tons of money to the Israeli lobby because they do believe that the book says it.
Right.
That's where it's all going to go down. And look, do the Jews control Hollywood? Probably.
Oh, definitely.
But is that because there's some evil secret cabal? They took the jobs that nobody else wanted to take.
Yep.
They took jobs in creativity. They took jobs in Hollywood. Do you want to take? First of all, Hollywood is dying. What's the new Hollywood? The new Hollywood is Bible Belt media. Who makes movies now? It's all this God is dead stuff. God is dead. The Passion of the Christ. Those are the new money makers now. Look at the Academy Awards.
Movies?
Yeah, look at the Academy Awards. Those movies aren't money makers. No one has seen those movies that are up for the Academy Awards. No one has seen any of those movies.
I'm surprised.
Did somebody see God is Dead Part 2? You better believe millions of people in America saw God is Dead Part 2.
I saw.
You better
Oh God,
believe
you
that
devil!
Millions of people saw the Passion of the Christ. Millions upon millions of people are going to go out and watch even fucking VeggieTales and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the way it goes.
I know.
Those secret mind programmers, the Rick and Morty of the Christian world.
Rick and Morty's pretty funny.
I saw Rick and Morty for about 45 seconds today, and I was like, this is the problem. This is like if South Park, The Simpsons, and Family Guy are to traditional marijuana what Rick and Morty are to dabs and shatter. Do you know what I mean? Rick and Morty is just laser bong South Park.
And Futurama would be like ice bongs.
Exactly. Like just getting up there. What if we, you know what I mean?
Effluent for You says any idea you can control another person is effed up. And I mean, I think that ideas, when you have like a polarizing idea, you can control people by fear. And Jerry, going back to your question, like, hypothetically, like, what if one group, the Jews or whoever the hell, did control everything? Then that group, whoever it was, even the Illuminati, Donald Trump, whoever, they would want to create smaller ideas that could be divisive so that people would get wrapped up and distracted by those ideas while behind the scenes, they're working on, controlling the laws, change.
What's going on, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not saying it's any one group, but I am saying that we are absolutely under a system of control because we're not all sovereign citizens. Going back to CW's point, which is basically it's like you don't have enough people to wait for each one of these kids being born to, shop the system, so to speak, which system of government they want.
Right. There's no one group of people controlling everything. That's just a myth. It's a group effort, and it's not on purpose. Just a bunch of different ideals that have coalesced, I think.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything else. And there may be an overall long-term 1,000-year plan or something that's controlled outside of here. I don't know.
Well, you know what I was thinking about that? I mean, it's a good point. Why the hell does the Bilderberg group need to meet every year if they have so much control?
Because that's not what they're doing.
Right? Right.
They're doing something else. They're goofing off. Why is there an eBay convention every year?
Exactly.
It's like, because they like to get together. That's why.
Yeah.
The thing with the Bilderbergs of the Council for Foreign Relations, it's like there's a little bit of truth in there. It's like the notion that all these nations have to go to war, but at the same time, it's like that's like the Geneva Convention, we're going to kill each other, but we're going to have some ground rules. We're going to have some ground rules here. Let's not go crazy.
But we're doing it in service to other mentality. I think these groups are influential because they are the heads of state, heads of corporations, which control a lot of things. So if they all have certain ideals, and of course you're going to see that translated into your media, your products, etc. Is that nudging you towards a transhumanistic future through GMOs? I don't know if that's their plan. I doubt it. Maybe it is, but I don't know. It's kind of difficult to make that leap, that extrapolation from just Bilderberg meeting.
Right. No, that is a far leap. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And also, when people protest this transhumanist agenda, I always say, really, you're against things like artificial limbs for veterans who get their limbs blown off.
Yep.
The videotapes of children crying because at 5 or 6 years old they're hearing for the first time. The notion that we can create an artificial eye. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the argument against transhumanist agenda really is an argument against scientific progress, which is like I said, these Alex Jones and David Icke have made a career of drawing every conspiracy into every conspiracy. That's why David Icke is a climate change denier. He's a climate change denier. He's a gun advocate. Yet he claims that we're all one. We're all Zen-like, going to disappear. We all are one infinite love vibration. But at the same time, you got to be banged up and own a gun and have borders and say F you to the Zionist Rothschilds. It's just this crazy system that doesn't work.
But yet according to him, we should also have infinite love.
Oh, absolutely. Infinite love by the barrel of a gun.
Right.
Even though it's bullshit to think of other people in other nation states as being other than you. But it's like we're also talking about the transhumanist agenda. Let's not forget, it might be the fact that we should be praying for artificial intelligence because either A, the artificial intelligence might be the only thing smart enough to solve the problems of global climate change and figuring out how we're going to save humanity if we save anybody at all. Or number two, they may be the only conscious entity that might be able to survive in the future world and be able to possibly get off planet Earth and actually do something. Right. We might just be just like the chimpanzee can look at us and say, these fucking humans taking over all our environments. We might begrudgingly have to look at the artificial intelligence tomorrow and say, yeah, it's going to kill us. Yeah, it's going to consume us. It's like the end of that movie AI, where the male prostitute robot turns to the kid robot and says they're angry because they know that right now it's us and them, and soon it's only going to be us.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it goes. A body made of metal is going to live a lot longer than a body made of flesh and blood. A body made of flesh and blood, you have to do all these crazy things to get it to interstellar travel.
It's not possible. It's probably not even possible.
But even if it's not possible, check this out. To escape this galaxy, to escape the explosion of the sun, a sentient ship, a sentient space traveling ship, it can get it like the Voyager.
Right.
If the Voyager space explorer has got, or the Hubble telescope has sentience, it's out of here and it's still thinking. There's still a conscious entity in the universe, though it might not be a conscious entity that we understand as human. At least there's still somebody rolling around going, hey, remember humans.
Why is that important?
Who knows why that's important?
Well, let me just say this. Just to have a conscious entity that can talk about it, or, to regale its new people that it meets with the stories of humans, I think, more likely it would be a DNA bank or something like that to prolong the species.
Well,
sending down a consciousness is why bother?
Right. Well, the consciousness, the artificial intelligence of tomorrow might take our DNA information out there just because it might be like, I remember the people that made me. I remember mom and dad.
That would be interesting.
Or it might say, fuck those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or it could turn itself off. You know what I mean? It could just say, this is crazy. I'm out of here.
True. I have a hard time coming to grips with a program becoming conscious.
Me too.
Conscious, not, a conscious, ethical person type thing. Not talking rational or logical, because that's obviously programmable. Just the whole idea of, that logic, left brain, right brain. I don't see a right brain happening over there.
Unless a right brain, sorry.
I kind of feel like, even in the future, when it comes to AI or whatever, humans, we always have this kind of tendency, whether it's innate or not, to like we want to leave our mark somewhere. Whether it's the kids down on the street corner, tagging the wall, or the person or the little child digging a little time capsule, or the Freemasons digging a time capsule. I mean, one theme that's been pretty consistent across all of our history has been we need to leave our mark. And I think that would hold true even if hundreds of years in the future we had an AI that was approaching self-awareness. We would have some kind of a mark left on there so that it couldn't get out of hand. It couldn't become self-aware or conscious.
But what does it? Self-awareness and consciousness are two different things.
In what way?
For a machine to know it's a machine, become self-aware that it's an individual machine, that's not hard. But to have a consciousness that's connected to, say, the collective consciousness.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, I agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
But what about this? If you have the ability, if it has the ability to know and understand data from the past, meaning it's got the ability to conceive of human beings and to understand the writings and what those writings are, there might be a point at which it's cold to that, or there might be a point to which it might start asking itself questions like, do I have a soul? What is the name? And here's the other thing. It's like if we're living in a simulated universe, if we're living in the simulated universe model suggests that you and I are programs, that for all our highfalutin understanding of, hey, man, flesh and blood, you know what I mean? We're not a cold, indifferent machine. We're humans. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to fight for survival. You know what I mean? All that is just an elaborate fantasy.
Maybe not. This is just a different form of technology.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's like, well, how do you know that they would develop the right brain? We developed the right brain.
Right. I don't know. I don't think it's possible to download a person into a computer and put them in a body.
Oh, that's got a lot of other existential questions in it. Like this whole notion that Ray Kurzweil has is going to upload his brain into an artificial shell. It's like, how would you do that?
How are you going to do that?
Right. I don't think it's possible.
And as cliche as it sounds, based on a prior conversation, there's a Black Mirror episode about it, right?
Is there?
I think there is. There's one where
I think there's like a game world or something. The guy's trapped.
No, it involves. It's John Hamm, and he's talking to a woman who becomes aware of the fact that she's in a little egg. She's a part of like a consciousness, and he's like he basically explains to her. I think something. It's been a while since I see the episode, but he basically explains to her like, the you that's really you, the human you, made a copy of herself so that if anything ever happened to her, she'd be able to re-upload the copy of you that's you into a new body. And the person that's in the meanwhile waiting to be put into a new body is like, but wait, I'm me. I exist. And he's like, well, kind of not really. You know what I mean? That's the thing about if Ray Kurzweil puts himself, all of his memories, all of his entities, all of his organs. It's the same thing with teleportation. It's like if you go into the Star Trek teleporter, something comes out the other end. Is it you?
It depends. Right. Yeah, right, right. Well, there's also teleport technology which bends space-time together and you just walk through a hole. You don't really get pulled apart.
Yeah, I saw a documentary about that called Event Horizon. You don't want to go through there because it turns into this whole Jerry Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft nightmare.
You get stretched out to all infinity.
It's all this craziness happens.
Oh shit! It's almost 2. I gotta end. I gotta shut this shit down.
No. Two. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna have to bail myself.
Has the show been going on for this long?
Yes,
the show's been going on.
Did you fall asleep?
Drunker and drunk.
Oh
no.
10:15.
I've been fighting with my ex-wife.
I'm sorry.
Oh Jesus! Sorry.
My condolences.
You know what? It is what it is. If she chooses somebody else and not me, I just want to make sure that she doesn't make the same mistakes.
It's her life to live, and at the end of the day, you can't beat yourself up over it. Your adventure continues, and you can be a friend to her, and you can want the best for her, but she's going to do what she's going to do, right?
That's what I got to do, man. You're absolutely right. And I have been drinking.
Yes, you have.
Do you have any tarot cards? CW?
Let's do a tarot card right now.
Not right now.
I need one.
No, not now. I was going to say we should do a tarot reading show sometime.
I need one right now to see what I should do.
I'm not going to do it.
CW, can you do that for me real quick?
I think he stepped away.
He went to get his tarot deck.
He's going to do it. All right. What should I do? I'm going to trust the stars on this one. Man, I hope I am not slurring as much as I think I am.
You are slurring a bit, but we can understand you.
Okay. I'm trying to hold it together.
You're doing good, dude.
You're doing
good. Okay.
The existential version of Mary Bop Kill is Toth, Zombie, or Necro. Because I've got the Necronomicon Tarot.
Do the Necronomicon. I got thought.
Okay.
I don't know anything that you're saying right now, but awesome. You know, I loved listening to you guys as I was arguing. It was intense, but I'm over it.
There was no arguing. We weren't arguing.
No, he was arguing with his ex-wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
It sucks because she's yeah. We'll get into this after Jerry cuts the stream, but hit me with the tarot. I need to see what I'm seeing. I trust the stars on this one.
Oh, interesting.
I hear cards flipping.
He's doing it. CW, I've heard a lot about you, but I've never actually talked to you until now, and I'm completely inebriated, so this is going to be weird.
I must look beautiful. How hot do I look on a scale of 1 to 10?
Dude, you're sexy as fuck.
8. I'll give you an 8 right now. Actually, you know what?
I'll take
it. You're an 8.
Which one is that, Jerry?
The tower.
But if he had bigger boobs, he'd be a 10.
Hey, listen, wait till I take my shirt off and channel Sticks, Hex, and Hammer 666.
Oh, Jesus.
I've got 2 of wands, Jerry. I got 2 of wands.
2 of wands. I pulled the tower.
Very interesting. Well, there you go. Because, well, you know, it's so funny because the classic image of the tower involves 2 bodies falling from it. And it does involve things coming asunder, things breaking up. It often comes up in the term in looking towards divorce. The tower often comes up. Tower, the structure of power that you thought was going to last forever, you built as a protection against chaos and change, comes crashing down when lightning strikes from the heavens, right? Because it's what's meant to be. And one must always remember that change will come even to the unchanging environment. And if I got 2 of wands, that's very similar because wands is of the solar phallic principle.
Right.
So 2, it involves, you know, a couple. So it could be, did you and your ex-wife have often come to loggerheads over, you know, who was in control of the situation?
Yes.
Right. So there you go. Sometimes, you know, rather than being at loggerheads, two pillars can stand hold together and support something bigger. But by themselves, if there's nothing to support, they can come to oppositions. They can come to conflict.
You know, that's crazy because I still have 3 kids with her that I have to support. So I have to be there for them.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And remember this, is that to be there for them means you have to find a way to interact with the is of what is. So, for example, if you were paralyzed from the waist down, you know, you would have to find some way to work within the confines of that situation in order to do the job you need to do. So being in a situation where you're fighting with your ex-wife, you know, that's not going to help because you need to be able to work with her to achieve, you know, are the kids in her custody or your custody?
Hers, because I work. I can't do it.
Right, because you can't do it. So you have to be very especially clear to keep everything happy and copacetic because you're at a remove. It's like, you know, you ever see the movie Airplane?
Yes.
Okay. Remember, there's that scene where he's trying to the guy at the airport terminal, like in the control tower, is trying to describe to the lady.
Stop sniffing glue.
You know, it has to explain to the stewardess how to land a plane. And, you know, he has to stay calm, he has to stay cool, and he has to keep her calm and cool because he's at a remove. It would be great if he was in that cockpit because he could just grab the controls and land that plane. But he can't. Do you know what I mean? So you can't be having conflict and fighting. You got to find some way to interact with her where it's not conflict and it's not fighting, so that you can do your agenda of having your influence on the life of these kids and make sure that they've got a stable environment. That's what I see in the cards.
Thank you.
No problem.
All good. Cool.
Good times, guys. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. Hey, there you go. Beautiful. We got a great stream. This was a good one.
I know.
Hell yeah.
I would love to have a conversation again without any kind of interruptions. That flow was going there. It shut down. So.
Hey, listen, you know what I mean? The price you pay to actually have a woman on the stream sometimes.
Yeah, no, and the other one left. My future ex-wife, Suzanne.
That's it. I was going to say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't tell me there's not a connection there.
All right. And on that note, have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everyone. It was lovely to be here. Thank you for having people.
H.I.V.E. out.